Alright, hello everybody. Welcome. It's day 2. I did miss the first series. It was the Guard versus FaZe, but yesterday I gave my predictions for the matchup, and it went as I expected. It was a 2-0 win for the Guard. So that's sort of why I didn't tune in, but also I had other stuff going on, so I would have had to tune in late. I was considering going live if it went to the third map, but it didn't, so just decided not to go live for that. But that does mean the Guard moves up here, and now we're going to figure out who's facing off against the Guard tomorrow. We will see. That's what we're looking for right now. Now, this matchup is going to be between G2 and Oxygen. Give me a second, just turn that up so I can hear when they start broadcasting again. But it's going to be G2 Esports versus Oxygen Esports. Now, these are two teams which did not. I mean, these two teams are definitely not like the best of the best. I'll give you that much. If we just want to look at Oxygen's record in the group stage, you can see they did decently well. They did lose 2 of their matches, though. They lost their first one against Breakthrough, who's now known as Moist Moguls. And they also lost to G2, 2-0. And that's who they're playing against right now. A team they lost 2-0 to. Versus, you look at G2, and they had a pretty good record. They had a lot of they had 2-2-0 victories. They got 2-2-1 victories. Their only loss was to Turtle Troop, and that was a bit of an upset. So what am I looking at here? What do I think is going to happen? Let's be quite honest here. It's probably going to be a win from G2. Do I think it could go in Oxygen's favor? Maybe. Do I think it's going to go into Oxygen's favor? No. I think G2 could be looking at another 2-0 victory over Oxygen. And we'll see what the map picks are, and if that actually changes anything up, we can just look at their matchup, because they were part of the same group, and now they're playing against each other again. We can go ahead and look at their matchup and see how it went. I mean, G2 won on split, which, to be fair, they picked, but they won 13-4 against Oxygen. So that's not a good, it's not bearing well for Oxygen. Now, their second game on Haven, which Oxygen picked, was quite a bit closer, but it still didn't even go to overtime. And it was a 13-11 victory for G2. So G2 played pretty well. I mean, mostly let's just focus on the split game. A 13-4 loss for Oxygen just goes to show how close G2 is to just, taking this matchup now again. And goes to show how strong of a team G2 is against a team like Oxygen. So I don't think Oxygen's going to be able to make an upset here. That being said, though, there was a little bit of an upset on what I expected yesterday, where Moist Moguls was able to beat out TSM. This is my pick'ems. This is what I thought was going to happen, was TSM beating Moist Moguls. That's not what happened. What actually ended up happening was Moist Moguls took a 2-0 victory over TSM. Very surprising from my perspective. So, do I think upsets are possible here now that we're in MSI? Yeah. But do I think it's going to be an upset today? No, I don't think so. I think it's just going to be a pretty clear cut and dry win for G2. Now, that being said as well, whichever team loses this has to go ahead and face off against FaZe Clan. We can actually look into what that matchup would look like for either team. We can look at Oxygen against FaZe. They won that 2-0, so it honestly looks like it's a good bearing for Oxygen, even if they end up in the lower bracket. They may be able to make it a little bit further than maybe people are expecting if they do end up down there, which again, I think they're going to end up down there. They're going to have to go up against FaZe Clan again, and I do think Oxygen has a chance of winning against FaZe Clan and could start to make their run in the lower bracket seem pretty good. But of course, it's a big maybe. Now, let's say hypothetically, Oxygen pulls through and beats G2 here. We just look at G2 against FaZe. It was a little bit closer, but it was still a 2-1 victory, and that was week 1, and now not every team was playing very well in week 1. So, we could say the same for G2, where they weren't playing very well in week 1. So I think if they were to lose here and then face off against FaZe, they could probably beat FaZe there. So, I think at this point, FaZe's run may be over. If we're just, that's something we can think about as well. Like, whichever team loses this has already beat FaZe. FaZe is down here now, which means whoever loses this has to play against FaZe. And both of these teams have already beaten FaZe. So I honestly think we may be seeing the end of the road for FaZe. And I mean, the Oxygen FaZe was a little bit of an upset, so it could still go that way for FaZe. I'm not saying it's completely the end of the road for FaZe, but it's not looking good for them, is all I have to say. But that's not what we're talking about right now. That's for next week. We don't have to worry about next week. What we do want to talk about today is this G2 Oxygen game. Which, like I said, I do think is going to go in the favor of G2. They just overall seem to be playing better. Again, we do have to see the map picks. If G2 is able to pick Split again, I mean, there's a chance Oxygen has reworked their way around it. Around how they want to play Split. There's a chance they did that VOD review. They figured out what they need to do to play better. But honestly, I think, quite frankly, does Oxygen have a chance if Split is picked once again? No. I think if Split is the choice from G2 again, it'll probably go to G2. We'll see if Oxygen just decides to ban that map. Now, I do think Oxygen could pick Haven and still have a good shot, but at the same time, G2 also does VOD review, and they're going to be able to figure out, okay, we did not do as well against Oxygen on Haven as we wanted to, and they're going to be able to figure out how they need to play better. And it's especially tough when you're moving into these matches, because they're sort of like rematches. I mean, think about it. The M80 versus Disguise game, these two teams already played against each other, so they were able to VOD review each other and figure out the weaknesses of each other just within their own games, and then improve on the weaknesses that they show. Which means it's sort of like both sides are able to get a good feel for what it's going to look like. TSM versus Moist Moguls, they'd never played each other. Nobody really knew how that was going to go. The Guard versus FaZe, I do think they've played each other maybe in the Ludwig and Tarek, but I don't remember that. That may be what happened, but either way, the Guard's just a strong team. But now we're moving into G2 and Oxygen. Two teams we've already seen play each other, and again, they have the advantage of they've played each other, so they can VOD review, figure out what they did wrong in those matches, and try and improve from that initial match. And maybe Oxygen will have improved so much that they'll be able to beat G2. Oxygen is a good team. They're not bad. I mean, they had a winning record overall. Sure, some of their games were a little bit faulty against, for example, G2 and Moist Moguls, but then, like, their Shopify game was a little bit strong. They beat FaZe Clan 2-0. They beat Turtle Troop, who took down G2, so Turtle Troop at the time was looking really, really strong. So Oxygen is a powerful team, and it seems as the group stage went on, they got stronger and stronger. But at the same time, I do think, I think Oxygen's in a little bit of a tough spot against G2. Like, that's what I'm saying. I think it's possible Oxygen can win here, or at the very least get a map up, but I don't think it's going to happen. If it is going to happen, it happens, but, like, if the best case scenario, it's sort of like what I said with Disguise against M80, was like, best case scenario, Disguise gets a map up. Is that likely to happen? I don't think so, but that's best case scenario. And I think that's the same thing here. Obviously, I think Oxygen against G2 is a little bit closer than the Disguise versus M80, but my point still stands. I think best case scenario for Oxygen is getting a good map up. I think they have a little bit more of a chance of winning than maybe I'm thinking. Or like, I think they have the potential to get a 2-1 victory. If it does go to that decider, I think they have a chance. But realistically, I think best case scenario is getting just one map up. And then, I think they have a chance in lower bracket. So I don't think Oxygen should necessarily be worried about losing here because they've already beaten FaZe Clan. So if they do face off against FaZe Clan again in the lower bracket, I think there's a chance they could take a win there. I think it's possible for them. And so I don't think Oxygen should be scared about losing. It's not like they're going to be losing and then going up against like TSM or M80, so or even the guard. So they're not in a bad position here, even off of a loss. And so I think Oxygen's in a decent spot right now. So if you're a fan of Oxygen, don't be worried. Even though it doesn't look like they're going to win this, they probably won't. They could have a good run in the lower bracket. But actually, what I'm thinking is going to happen is, and if you look at my pick'ems, this is sort of what I wrote down what would happen. So FaZe lost. That's what I predicted. I think Oxygen is going to lose this. Then I think Oxygen wins this. That's what I've already predicted. Now, oh, right. So, sorry, I thought G2 would end up down here, but that's not how it works. So if Oxygen faces off against TSM, I think it goes to TSM. But at the very least, Oxygen does still have a good chance of at least winning a matchup here. I think they could win against FaZe here. Against TSM, it'll be a little bit tricky, but the fact that Moist Moguls beat out TSM, I think, is a good omen for Oxygen. I think it's a good merit of what it may be to come. So I think Oxygen has a chance of winning against TSM. So again, Oxygen shouldn't be worried about taking a loss against G2. I think they're a powerful team and could do well in the lower bracket. However, against this match specifically that we're talking about is happening right now, I think it's going to go to G2. I don't think Oxygen has the power that they need to face off against G2. They have the potential, sure, and I think it's possible, but it's just not going to happen. Now, I do think what would be interesting is if Oxygen did happen to win, they'd have to face up against the guard. They'd probably lose that, and then they'd end up against whoever wins between Disguise and Moist Moguls, another very powerful team. And if they end up against Moist Moguls, I'll bring you back to this point. They've lost to Moist Moguls in that first week, so it wouldn't look good if Moist Moguls wins against Disguise. Or wait, sorry, I'm looking at my pick'ems, and that's not actually what happened. So Disguise is against TSM. So I'm losing track. We'll cross that bridge when it comes. It's hard to visualize everything in my head. But it looks like the broadcasters are starting, so let's go ahead and take a listen on what their thoughts are about this G2 Oxygen matchup.
These are two teams that have played against each other before.
Yeah, right. Definitely did play in the group stage, a 2-0 for G2. The first map being quite one-sided on split, Haven being a closer affair. But G2 ultimately did get the W there. But G2 was just kind of a weird team for me in the split because while they started, well, getting, 3 wins in a row and put themselves up there near the top of the leaderboard, they had a weird finish where they got smoked by Turtle Troop, but then they destroyed Shopify Rebellion. Like, it was a really weird ending, right? So I'm kind of curious to see what version of G2 we're going to get here in the mid-season face-off.
Who knows, right? But at least it's been fun to watch. And I mean, there is definitely a lot for this team to be living up to, Roy, considering the members on this squad itself.
I mean, both of these squads are actually super strong. I think G2 has a pretty clear, respected roster. They have a pretty strong tenure within Valorant. But I mean, Oxygen gets a lot of hate, but their players are objectively pretty solid. They have a really good flex player. They have a really good support player in Verno. They have a strong duelist who has really, really impactful first interactions in the round. I mean, they have really experienced IGL and Mitch. Like, they're not a team that could be easily laughed at. But I do think that Oxygen has what I call like a high variance in their performances and in their showings, right? Where you can get an Oxygen where it's like they look like a world-class team. They look like a top team in the region. And then there's the other side of the coin where like they look like they're completely discombobulated. They're crumbling under the pressure. They're not adapting well to what their opponents are doing. So I am curious to see how that unfolds. But there's a pretty interesting thing here between these two teams is, the map vetoes will probably come through soon. But G2 has, like, as you can see on the screen right here, pretty strong gun round percentages. They're securing rounds. They're really good in pistol rounds. They're securing 63% of them. They're
Mhm.
Eco advantages are being pretty much secured at 81%. I mean, G2 is a good team. I'm curious to see, but I'm also curious to see what the Vito will be like.
Yeah, I mean G2, like as just to give like a little bit more, kind of context on the numbers that you're seeing on your screen here. This team actually succeeds a lot when it comes to light buys and full buys, as well as in pistol rounds. Like they're quite strong there. They're also strong when they have the economic advantage, but they struggle a little bit when they are at an economic disadvantage. So they're maybe a little bit less crafty in some of those like half buy type situations, and that's been kind of the trend throughout the season. But to kind of go back to your point as we start transitioning into Oxygen, I think you're right. Like, I think that, Pony is definitely one of those guys that's like one of the...
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. I think Oxygen has potential, and they could, maybe, but again, best case scenario, they get one map, but against a solid team like G2, I don't think they can take a win. I'm happy for them to disprove me here, but I just don't think that's what's going to happen. Like realistically, not to like hate on Oxygen. They are, again, like they said, they're a powerful team and they have a lot of potential. But G2 is just a really strong team. They got a 4-1 win ratio. They've done really, really well. They did good in the group stage, and I don't think they're gonna start faltering now that we're in the mid-season against a team like Oxygen.
When they play like the faster pace, and it's just about whether or not they're efficient with it or not. I think kind of is what leads to certain results over others.
Yeah, I feel like Oxygen Esports has been really fun to been watching too, because I feel like there's a lot of just like star potential of people standing up. I mean, you were talking about Scuba just being someone sought after. Scuba and Verno both. I mean, there's been these clutch moments that have been coming out, and when either of them, or even when both of them are popping off, I mean, Roy, the games can be shifted just like that.
Oh yeah, I mean these games are going to be marginals here. Again, last time these two teams had a showing, it was pretty one-sided on one map. Haven was a little bit choppier, but interesting thing to note is that after Oxygen has lost that series, they swapped their comps on almost every single map, except for Haven. I think they still have like the go-to, but their split comp changed. They actually stole G2's comp after losing to them. So if split is going to be in this veto, that's something to look out for sure.
Hey, if you can't beat them, join them, right? But looking at it a little further into the numbers for this one, I mean, like I said, Oxygen Esports, an interesting team.
Yeah, they are interesting because their stats are somewhat mimicking kind of G2. Like they are also very strong when it comes to the full buy win round percentage. They are at 61%. Also number 2 in full versus full buy. So again, that's when both teams have a full buy. They actually win 60% of those rounds. They, again, like G2, are one of the teams that struggle the most when they're at an economic disadvantage or when they're taking a light buy. So basically what you're seeing is two teams that require a lot to get going, I guess you could say, as like far as like making sure they have all their utility at their disposal, making sure that they can kind of like take their time and work through their set pieces with their utility, but sometimes they can struggle whenever they don't have everything at their fingertips, so to speak, right? So that's actually going to be kind of cool to see how that stacks up when those teams get put in those situations, who can come out a little bit more crafty, because I think that's going to be maybe what creates the separation, considering that both teams have some individual talent and both teams are very good at playing an up-tempo play style. But, you know, what happens when things start going wrong? Who can make the better adjustments?
I mean, when you're looking at people that can have that potential to kind of push them a little bit further, you have to start narrowing in a little bit more on the duelists that they have. Both of these players is absolutely phenomenal. Oxy, as a new addition in, has just been absolutely incredible. Have loved watching Oxy play so far in this, Roy. Like, this is a nutty player, but you can say the same for Pony too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can just see by the stats here, the ADR is definitely leaning towards Oxy side. Even like the KDs are definitely leaning towards Oxy side. Francis is Oxy, by the way. He's such a funny kid. He's really high energy. He's really confident. It feels like he's like an old soul in like a young body, right? He feels no pressure. I mean, Dust, you call Pony an up-and-comer, but Pony's been on multiple teams, like multiple top teams in the region. He's still young, though. I definitely agree with that. I think he has a lot of room to grow, and I think he will grow into that role, into being that superstar player who's extremely well-rounded and really fundamentally sound. But when it comes to like the flashy plays, the go on the bomb side, get 2 or 3 openers, that's probably going to be out.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where like both these teams come from like humble beginnings, so to speak, in the sense that like Oxy, you know, used to play for Knights Academy, then he played for like Dark Ratio, who's like the former Dark Zero team. A lot of those guys obviously went on to the former Mad Lions when he joined this team. And then, when it looks to Pony, he's the guy that played in like Team One Academy and then Cosmic Divide. It's like some of these like kind of stronger tier 2 and tier 3 teams. And both of these guys, I think what's important to note is like while Oxy's numbers really leap off the page, I mean, the dude's like leading in so many different categories right now in the league. I think he's top 3 in ADR, ACS, and KPR in the whole entire challengers. So like he very much leaps off the page, but Pony is right there with him, man. Like as far as he's actually better at first kills per round. So maybe a slight edge on like the entry power, but I mean only narrowly. But the bigger.
If there's one thing I've learned through pro play, it's that first kills are important, but they are not the make or break. So having a good first kill ratio is good, but it's not gonna be enough if your team can't capitalize on it.
It was a very strong victory for G2 in that aspect. So of course that was a bit ago, so we'll have to see just where Oxygen has been able to step up going into this and see if maybe where they've swapped enough around to where they can take this into a map 3 or even take the series.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind that G2 has made changes as well, right? So there's definitely opportunities for Oxygen to capitalize on some of these, like, maybe disturbances, I'll call them, where, G2 has swapped their comps, there are holes in their gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the main thing I want to know is like how the supporting cast members work out in this matchup, because we did the Pony versus Oxy, and that's a great matchup. But what else you have to think about here is the fact that Scuba is also like in the top 10 in a lot of statistical categories, and so is Virno. Meanwhile, you look over at the G2 side, and I feel like Dapper's definitely playing better this year now that he's getting to play like more traditional Sentinel roles. Yeah. I think that Whippy has been really consistent on the controllers, but it feels like Penny sometimes is like, it just depends on what agency he's on, and depending on the day, depends on what kind of impact that he has. I'm just saying there's a little bit more variance there, whereas I feel like Oxygen kind of has like a consistent like core 3 people that they can always count on in any given match. So that's what I'll be curious to kind of follow throughout the series as well.
Well, before we get into our series and our map, of course, we did have a chance to talk to the players about their own thoughts of the upcoming match ahead of them.
All right. I like that there's more like in between matches content.
I think the way Oxygen plays is very easy for us to like figure out what to do. They kind of, it seems like they're just playing off a script, and that's just not a way you can play FPS games. It might seem like from a coach's point of view, or like anybody that doesn't really know the game that well, it seems like the most optimal way to play. Everybody kind of knows what they're doing, but in the same vein, your opponents also are going to know what you're doing, so it feels like it's a bit of that.
I think Oxygen's a pretty strong team. A lot of people probably slept on them early because of those like little hiccups, but I think they're well structured and definitely one of the better teams in the league. So I think shutting down Oxygen the first time around, it came down to Split because we were extremely like prepared for that, and I mean it didn't really seem like they were too prepared when they played it. And I can tell that because after they switched exactly to our comp, they've been playing extremely well. So I think that kind of set the tone for the series.
They only have 5 days to prepare, and also we only have 5 days to prepare for them. But yeah, I would say usually it's the team that loses a matchup that would want to adjust more because they know they have to do like something different to win, right? They can't do the same exact thing and expect to win. So it's definitely on them. But at the same time, we're not sleeping on them.
It seems to me like when they play, they have a preset script of what they like to do. So as long as their game plan goes well, they're obviously going to execute it well. But if something like happens where it messes up their game plan, I think maybe that's when they're a bit weaker. But I would say we have like really experienced players and good players, so I think all of us have a good read on the game, so it's pretty easy for us to adapt and kind of like throw teams off like that, right?
Yeah.
From watching their games, it seems like they win and lose a lot of their games on how Pony plays, because he is more often than not like the first contact on everything. So if he's feeling it, he'll get a few opening kills and stuff like that. But if not, it seems like their play kind of breaks down. So I think it really depends on how he plays. Good luck to Oxygen. That's all I gotta say.
Fair. We only heard from G2.
It's such a fun series ahead of us.
Just watch G2
like that little
shit
call
on
out specifically about Pony 2 at the end there, Dust.
Yeah, you sound him good luck. And I mean, he's right though. Like Oxygen thrive most when they are able to just like kind of roll out their more assertive game plan, where Pony is the tip of that spear, right? And again, we talked about how both these teams can sometimes struggle and they start getting behind and they're in economic disadvantages. And that's where things can kind of start to crumble. It's like who can make the key adjustments to kind of get themselves back up. But the point I would say is that G2 sometimes has the same issue, right? Where like, yeah, sometimes Oxy can get activated and they can, steamroll a site with a nice set piece, but sometimes when they get into like maybe like the nitty gritty of a mid-round default, sometimes things can kind of break down and deteriorate. They're not as polished, I think, as like a guard or an M80, for example.
Yeah.
So just with all the little different factors that we have going on here in the series, regardless the 2-0, the 2-1, it should be fantastic. The fact too, the history when we go into the maps between these two teams. This was a series for Oxygen Esports that was a little weird. This is where we got to see G2 last time these two faced off, bring out the split and absolutely dominate on it. There's a lot of questions that maybe had about the map pool of G2 going into things, and right when things swapped over, they're able to do such good things. But they caught Oxygen Esports off guard a little bit last time, I think, Roy. So I'm wondering going into today if Oxygen will be a little bit more prepared.
Yeah, this is actually a really good talking point because G2 is probably the most off-meta team in this league right now. That like all their comps are very different.
Oh boy. Alright, so they let them pick Split again. That's very interesting. We also have Haven picked by Oxygen again. A map that Oxygen actually did pretty well against G2 on, although they didn't win. Maybe they've improved just enough to take that win. Split picked by G2. Honestly, I think we'll go to G2 again. They seemed pretty confident that Oxygen likes to do one thing and has a hard time switching away from that pattern, and I think G2 might be right about that, and I think they may be able to use that effectively on Split. Because here's the thing, if you've got a team comp that you're good at using and a strategy you're good at using it with, you also know the weaknesses in that team comp and with that strategy, because you need to know how to play around them and how to fix them. Which means they should know the weaknesses. As they've said, Oxygen switched to using the same team comp that G2 uses on Split, so G2 should know how to effectively play, or at the very least, outplay Oxygen on Split. And then the Decider for Lotus, I think that's going to be interesting. We haven't seen either of those teams on it, I don't think. And so seeing them on Lotus would be an interesting way to go. We'd see some interesting play from both sides. What's interesting to me is Icebox was not banned in the first phase of bans, and still neither team picked it. Usually Icebox is banned in those first two bans, but not this time, and neither team picked it. I guess pro players really just don't like Icebox, but that doesn't really matter. What I am saying is, will Oxygen be able to take the win on Haven? I don't think so. I think G2 knows why Oxygen did so well on Haven previously, and now knows how to outplay them better. Now, will Oxygen be able to bounce back on Split and prove they do know how to play on Split? I don't know. I don't think so. Split is a tough map, to say the very least, especially for Oxygen. And I don't think switching to whatever G2 was doing is going to give them that win. Alright, let's go ahead and take a listen to what the broadcasters have to say.
Tanner Mutro makes an appearance, Dryad, just when we fixed it all. And then like, the technical issues.
I haven't seen Tanner Mutro in a while.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta get it figured. I gotta screw loose or something. Either way, what I was saying was, thank you to the desk, Sierra, Dust, and Roy. We appreciate you guys for breaking the series down, as we've got a team in G2 Esports taking on Oxygen Esports. And Sierra said it, Dryad, right as they were tossing it over to us. It's the salty run back.
And it is one of those matchups where we're actually seeing the two teams that already face each other in that group face each other again. So we have a good mix between some Group A, Group B matchups, but we also have something like this one. And I gotta say, it's a little bit more scary for the side of Oxygen, knowing that they lost in a 2-0 fashion against G2 in that week number 3. But now they get another chance. The map pool, at least for the map number 1 and 2, are gonna remain the same. So I feel like it's a little bit of a mental game. Oh, you think you took the advantage and you're going to win again? Where we gotta show you what we got.
Yeah, and to kind of break down, I guess, the last series, right? A couple of weeks ago that we saw that it was Split first, which is a pretty dominant performance by G2. And we go to Haven, and it's a really close map. I believe 13-11 is where we landed. So I think...
All right, let's get into it. I did miss the first series today, but now we're getting into the second one. We'll see how it goes. It's G2 versus Oxygen, and we're on Haven, a map Oxygen did pretty well on in their previous matchup, and we'll see if Oxygen can do just well enough to secure this map win. Randy Savage on Killjoy, Oxy on Jet, Verno on Sova, Dapper on Killjoy, Scuba on Omen, Shazam on Sky, Pony on Jet, Penny on Breach, Whippy on Omen, and Mitch on Breach as well. This is nearly identical, excluding the Sky and the Sova, which are the only differences. G2 opting for a Sky, Oxygen opting for a Sova. Now, as the desk correctly pointed out previously, Oxygen is sticking with the same team comp they did in their previous matchup against G2, whereas Oxygen switched every single other team comp for every single other map. Besides Haven, they seem confident in the way that they play Haven, and we'll see if G2 is going to be the one to deny that confidence, or if Oxygen has correctly placed their confidence in their team comp. We'll see how it goes, and it looks like Oxygen is going to be attacking first and going to be leaning C. In fact, nobody is going mid, so G2 placing 3 near B and mid is a little bit misplaced, although one is sort of near garage, and it'll be an easy rotate. The Killjoy util there to lock down C is going to give G2 the vision they need to know Oxygen is pushing in. Pony's pushed up very aggressively. The dog is going to come through. They know where he is. Dapper's going to use that and just push in. Randy Savage, though, going to deny any CT push, taking out Dapper and Penny. Whippy finally going to shut him down, but it's a little late. It's a 3v3 where Whippy's down to 18 health. Verno looks away just at the wrong time and gets timing, going to get taken out. And as I speak, more trades happening, and now it's a 1v1. That Spike's getting halved, and now he comes off of it. And he just decides to stick it as much as possible. Mitch had an easy kill as Oxy was just sitting there, but Oxy just gets off, and Mitch whiffing that frenzy long or mid-range shot. Not going to be able to hit it. Oxy's going to be the one to shut it down, and that first pistol round goes to G2. A well-played kill there from G2 is going to, or a well-played retake there from G2 is going to give them that round win. Maybe shouldn't have won that round, and you know Oxygen, you know Mitch is going to feel bad about that one. Doesn't really matter. Now we're moving into the second round. Now we're moving into the second round. G2 going to have enough money to force here. Oxy, along with that Skybird, gonna push out, try and get an early pick. Gonna do some damage to Pony, but not gonna find a kill. And Oxygen looks like mostly still gonna be committing to this A. The Spike is short, as well as the rest of, as well as 2 other players, sorry, from Oxygen. The rest of the team looking at B, and that Killjoy util goes off, and it alerts G2. Maybe it's a B push. They also have that dog that went down short and saw some people there too, so they don't know if it's a B or an A. They smoke off B, and now they're backing up. And Oxygen is coming towards A. Oxy gonna take out Scuba, but it's traded off. And again, Oxygen is on a save round. They're just looking to do econ damage in the form of getting maybe a few kills. Mitch able to take out Shazam before he's traded off, so that's well done. Penny gonna get Pony, but traded off by Verno. Dapper gonna take out Verno, and Whippy gonna take out Randy Savage. 2 players left alive for G2 on a force for a second round. Did not work out very well for them. Good econ damage done from Oxygen, who was on a save. Oxygen gonna be able to full buy here. G2 gonna be in a little bit of a poor spot, and it looks like they may be deciding to force. Not a bad idea to try and get some momentum built up, but what that does mean is if they lose here, they're really not going to be in a great spot econ-wise. And they do have just slightly worse guns and shield than Oxygen, which means Oxygen should have the gun diff and gun advantage to win this round. We'll see if they're able to. 3 going towards C, the other 2 lurking B, or at least leaning B, but still in that T side spawn. And Oxygen is pushing towards down C. Trying to get an early pick, allowing Mitch to secure that orb, and now they're going to back up. That Rolling Thunder is pivotal in securing some rounds, and they want to get it up as quickly as possible. Oxy's locking down A long. We'll see if he's able to find a pick, as it looks like Oxygen is leaning towards an A push. The rest of G2, though, has started leaning towards B and C. They've got Killjoy util on B, which is also backed up by Shazam, while 2 are watching C. Pony going to be there to find and take out Oxy. Oxy was holding that angle, should have been able to find a pick, and wasn't, which is going to make it a little bit easier for Oxygen to just push in to A site. In fact, no damage was done to Oxygen at all in that exchange, which means not only do they have the player advantage, but their health hasn't been affected either. So it's a 5v4 for Oxygen, which could be easy for them to win. G2 now going to have to figure out how they want to play this retake. Dapper's being sent for a little bit of a flank. Shazam going to be able to take out Scuba from Heaven, and that's an early pick for G2 in this retake, which may help them gain the advantage here. Killjoy Util sent to CT entrance to try and force G2 off. G2's taking quite a little while. That spike's been down for a while. Maybe they're waiting for that flank to come through from Dapper, but it hasn't really. Shazam going to take out Verno, but Randy Savage going to finish Shazam off, so it's a 3v3, and that spike's coming off. Dapper looking for some exit picks. Is he going to find one? No, he's not. 30 health left. They could chase him down and probably take him out, but they don't. They back up. 3 players left alive for either side, and like I said, G2 forced that round. Oxygen also bought, but because they won, their econ's going to be in a good spot. G2's econ not going to be great now because they forced lost 2 of their players and didn't win. So once again, they're not going to be able to full buy. You see them forcing, or yeah, it looks like they're going to force here again. We'll see if that force does turn into a round. Oxygen, though, now going to have a very stable econ that's been started to build up, or is starting to be built up. There you go. It looks like it's going to be leaning C. Oxy's ready to find an early pick. Not going to find it. Pony going to take Oxy out, but Whippy going to be backing him up. Going to find that trade, and now it's a 4v4. And now Oxygen, they got picked off, had a little player exchange. Going to back up and start leaning towards A. They're going to encounter some Killjoy Util if they decide to go short, and Shazam is also on site to lock it down. And Oxygen is heading that way, but they're not going to go short. That Killjoy Util will not be encountered as they are looking at a peek of long. Sova Dart's about to come out, and now Dapper there to back Shazam up. Hold and lock down sight. Pony's going to find Dapper, take him out. They find Shazam as well, who's looking in the air, trying to get rid of that Sova Dart. He's going to get caught off guard. That's 3 kills for Pony so far. Now it's a 2v4. This retake's going to be tough for G2, and they forced, like I talked about. They may just want to save and preserve some good econ here. They don't have to, force a push. And it looks like it will be a save for them. Smart move. Their econ's not great because they forced again, and it didn't really pay off. So now their econ is starting to suffer, and taking a save here and then possibly saving on this next round would be to the benefit of G2 and probably what they want to look at doing. They also may want to figure out how they want to position Oxy because he's been playing a little bit aggressive early and it hasn't paid off every round. And we'll see if they decide to tell Oxy to play back more. Of course, Jet on Haven, you do want to play a little bit more aggressively on defense, but it hasn't really worked out for G2. They may just want to tell him to back up, play a little bit further back on site. Now, they did do a good thing by backing him up with Whippy, and they were able to find the trade-off of that. But it wasn't enough. And they lost their duelist, supposed to do some good damage, and Shazam, who knew they were pushing in, decided to prioritize the dart, which would reveal his location, rather than the potential that people would push him. And Oxygen was able to capitalize on that. Win for Oxygen is going to mean their econ has become very stable. And G2, yeah, finally going for this light buy save that they need to do. Oxy's definitely going to greed for this orb, but he's not going to be able to find it. Pony going to be there to shut him down, so he's not going to be able to get his knives. He'll have them next round, but they were looking for knives on a save, because it would have been helpful. Pony and Mitch going to team up to get that kill on Shazam. Now, they don't know that Penny's also on A side. He's just sitting there. Dapper coming in for the flank. Is he going to be picked off? We'll see. Now, again, this is a light buy from G2. There's 3 of them left alive. They may as well just force here. Randy Savage watching flank. Now they're actually turning their backs. So if Dapper wants to push right now, he'd be able to find a good push. Though there is an alarm bot. And by push, I mean pick, not push. Now, there's an alarm bot there, which would make it a little bit of a difficult play. And now Oxygen pushing out to site. Penny pushing up aggressively from short, trying to find a pick, and he's going to be pushing with Dapper. Whippy at the same time going to find a kill. Penny finding another kill, and now it's a 3v2. Oxygen down on numbers. They're just going to run that spike over towards C. G2's actually reading it, and they've started their preemptive run over as well, although they're going to have to play a little bit slower, and that spike's going to be able to go down on C, and they're going to play from CT, it looks like. Planning it for CT. Scuba going to lockdown Garage, not going to be able to. Penny's going to take him out, and now it's a 1v3 for Mitch. Again, that spike is planted perfectly for where he's positioning, or for CT. He doesn't know where Penny is. Finds him, going to take him out. Now he's going to concuss main, prevent G2 from pushing. He does suspect that they're coming from there, and that's a good read. He does have his ultimate, and he's using it once he hears that defuse go off to help play this post plant. It's not going to get halved. Well played there from Oxygen. It's going to help them play this post plant. He flashes out. It's not going to work out. They're going to be able to dodge it. Dapper going to finish Mitch off, and that round goes to G2, but they did lose quite a few of their players. But again, that was a light buy from them. A light buy save, so they would have enough money to buy this round regardless of if they lost, and they won. So they're in a good spot econ-wise. Going to help them jumpstart a good econ stability, although, like I talked about, Oxygen's econ was pretty stable for a little while, or they've been able to get it stable just off of 2-round wins, and so they're going to be able to buy this round, although they are looking for a win now in order to ensure a stable econ, and we're going to get Pony with those knives to help them set up a good stable econ, and Oxygen is doing another A push, and Oxy is pushing out with an operator. We'll see if he's going to be able to find a pick. He does spot Randy Savage, but he's not going to be able to find him. No damage done yet to either side, and Oxygen's going to back up. His short does get concussed. Still only 2-1A for G2, but it does appear that Penny's going to go try and back him up. It's a good move. Again, Pony has those knives, and he's trying to push with them. Oxy also has the knives in case he needs to do some close quarter combat. The Ute still coming through from Penny to try and get a pick. Not going to find any good holding back. Pony going to get an early pick on Oxy. It's an op versus knives, and the knives win. That attacker Killjoy lockdown going to force G2 back, and Oxygen has planted the spike. Now it's up to G2 to play a good post plant. Penny has that Rolling Thunder. That Breach ultimate's going to be pivotal in helping them retake, and it comes out in the form, or that concussion comes out first. Pony going to be able to take out Dapper while concussed. Also going to find Penny, again, while concussed. He's on a 3K, and he's looking for that ace. There's only 2 left, and they want to back up. This was a this was a full buy from them. Again, they found that stabilized econ, and they were looking for it. Now that operator is going to be left in the hands of Oxygen. Free off, and they're going to say, alright, I'll take it. Ooh, Shazam in a weird off angle. I didn't even know you could go up there. Going to take Pony out. Well played there. Now it's not going to be a flawless round from Oxygen, although it's near it. And again, that was supposed to help them start to free kickstart their econ. Oxygen was looking for that round to get their econ to start back up, and it worked out. Pony, who had just bought a shotgun and was going to use the knives, the only one to die, so it was worth him being the one to push out. He died. Didn't really matter, because again, he was the one to sort of light by and save with that judge. So the econ going to be really stable for Oxygen now, and G2 not in a great place. They had, that was their first like good full buy round, and they couldn't convert it into a win. Oxygen's been able to counterplay G2 really, really well. Now, again, this is the map Oxygen chose, so they are looking to win this map. If there's a map they want to win, it's this one, especially considering they're going to have to push into the next map being Split, which is, of course, going to be in G2's favor, especially after the dominant performance we did see against Oxygen from G2 when they did face off against each other in Split 1. So, G2's definitely gonna be good on Split, and so Oxygen needs to secure this map in order to have hope of going to that decider on Lotus. And I mean, I don't really know what to expect on Lotus. It really could go either way if it goes to that decider, although G2 is a little bit of the stronger team. So I'm still expecting a win from G2 overall, but Oxygen's not gonna make it easy. They won't go down without a fight. They're a powerful team, and they're trying to show it. Now we're gonna see another full buy from G2. They're barely able to scrape together that money, although Oxy's not going to be able to full buy and instead going to go for those knives. A good choice there. He did purchase that off in the previous round and died with it, so his econ's really not good. Oxygen, though, going to be able to full buy. Most of their players stayed alive, and the one that did die, again, was using those knives. So it worked out for his econ, and now Oxygen going to have a pretty stable econ for the next few rounds here, including this one. G2's hoping Pony can get some good kills with those knives. We'll see if they pay off. This Sova drone coming out. It's going to tag Scuba. Or not Scuba, sorry. Whippy. They're going to know where he is. Meanwhile, Pony's able to take out Dapper. Whippy going to take out Pony. They did know where he was, but still going to be able to get a kill. Whippy. Or sorry, Mitch going to finish off Whippy, but Penny going to be there to trade it off. Petty also going to take out Verno. Now it's a 3v1. Randy Savage all alone coming in from B. The bird goes into garage, and Shazam's going to be there to clear C-Link, and there goes Randy Savage. That round goes to G2, and they're starting to maybe get themselves back up and into the action. Oxygen, though, like I talked about, has a very stable econ and still does, though G2's econ's starting to stabilize now. They had a majority of their players alive after that round. Good for their econ. They were looking for that win on a full buy. They found it. Their econ's going to be okay. They do want to win this round to really ensure some good econ stability. Oxygen now looking for an econ win as well. They want to win this one for their econ. It's another full buy, but their next round won't be. So whichever team loses this, not going to be in a good place econ-wise, and definitely looking to deny that for both teams as well. Pony pushing out with this operator, does catch Whippy, but Whippy's jump peeking, and he's not going to be able to hit him, though he does wallbang Whippy. That's going to do quite a bit of damage. Meanwhile, over on B, Randy Savage barely going to whip on Penny in that round. Or sorry, that fight goes to Petty, and now Randy Savage is gone for Oxygen. The player advantage now in the hands of G2, although Whippy's a little bit low on health off of that wallbang operator shot. Now that Sova drone's coming in, and it looks like Oxygen wants to commit to this C push. The drone comes out, but it's hit by the paranoia, so it's not going to find anybody. Pony gets hit by the concussion as he's trying to push in. That Hunter's Fury comes through as well. Shazam going to take out Scuba, and Dapper able to take out Mitch. Pony's still on site, though. Going to be able to take out Penny and Dapper. Shazam finally going to shut him down. Verno going to take out Shazam, and now it's a 2v1. Verno has the spike, and he's trying to get away. He's going to be able to. Well played from G2 so far, but Oxygen is making it expensive. Regardless, though, G2's made it an expensive round for Oxygen. So even if Verno can clutch this up, it's not going to be easy for for Oxygen to recover their econ. Next round, they probably won't be able to full buy, and it'll have to be a light buy or a save. So it'd be nice for Verno to secure a win, but it's not going to be super beneficial. That spike goes down, and now G2's going to have to hit the long road and slowly rotate over towards A. I believe Verno's holding Hell. Let's see if he's able to find a pick there. The arrow comes out, and it's just on the other side of the box, and so G2's expecting him to not be held, but he is. He's able to find a kill, but Oxy going to be the one to shut him down, picks up that Phantom. Going to be there to take him down. Going to be able to defuse the spike, although that spike was taken down, so good play there from Verno, able to hold it off for a little while, but G2's just stronger. Oxy going to be there to shut it down, and that player disadvantage is not going to be helpful for Oxygen. And now their econ's not in a great spot. Like I said, they needed to win that round to secure their econ, and even if they'd secured it, with only one player left alive, their econ was not going to be great, and we're seeing that again, their econ not great. And you can see Pony's been really pulling through for Oxygen. And I've talked about it before, but you want consistent kills between all of your players. Even though, of course, there's going to be, your duelist out-fragging everybody else. You want them to be top frag. Even with that knowledge in mind, you still want the rest of your players to be consistently getting around the same amount of kills. And the rest of the players for Oxygen haven't really been able to do it. So it's pretty much always relying on Pony. And he's able to find those kills, but when the rest of your team gets picked off, it's hard. Or even if Pony dies first, it's hard for the rest of the team to pull through. Not that the other players aren't good, they are. But they need to be not so reliant on Pony. And we'll see if they're able to turn it around. They take this time out here. Hopefully for them it works out. Now G2's timeout was pretty useful. Denied Oxygen some rounds, and now G2 has taken the advantage back. And like I said, if there's a round, or if there's a map Oxygen should be taking, it's Haven. They picked it. And I don't think they have hope of taking Split, especially after what we've seen G2 do on Split to Oxygen. So, I do expect, if there's a map Oxygen should take, it's this one. And they're definitely looking for it. Scuba gonna commit to the Heaven teleport, and Shazam's gonna be ready for it. Just take him out. A little bit of a bad choice there from Scuba. Now, figuring out how to use these Omen ultimates is always difficult, even in pro play, and... Oh, but the knives from Pony gonna be able to find that pick on Oxy, and now they've evened the player count. The dog does come through and hits Pony, though. And Pony looking for another pick, gonna find it, takes out Whippy. Dapper gonna trade it off, but meanwhile, Verno takes out Shazam from Heaven. And Verno gonna take out Penny. Dapper gonna try and trade it off, and now it's a 1v1 between Verno and Dapper. And all Verno has is a Sheriff. Dapper with the classic out. He needed to reload and didn't have time. Verno with the Sheriff just gonna be able to head tap him, take that win, and he picks up a gun. And that was a save round from Oxygen that they won. And if you win on a save round, your econ starts to move in a much, much better place. That's where Oxygen's looking. Oxygen definitely starting to look in a good spot. Now their econ's good. That timeout definitely seemed to help. But once again, like I talked about, Pony was sort of the one to help carry that team through. And we'll see if they can become less reliant as time goes on. But may not be able to. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, again, Oxygen is a strong team. The rest of the team should be able to pull through. But so far, Pony's just doing really, really well. And we'll see if Oxy for G2 can start to, carry their team a little bit. They're definitely not performing as well as they would want to. But again, this is the map Oxygen chose. So, of course, Oxygen's going to be doing pretty well. Dapper coming in for the long flank. A little bit of a visual bug there. Doesn't have a gun. And, but he's holding a Sheriff. That alarm bot goes off, and now Oxygen knows it's a little bit of a flank. Now, Oxygen hasn't pushed into A yet, but G2 is entirely on A. And that alarm bot confirms to G2 what they needed to know, which is that the majority of Oxygen is on A. And Oxygen now feels a little bit back into the corner. You can tell Pony just going to get taken up by Whippy, but the util from Mitch is going to find a kill on Shazam. Meanwhile, Dapper takes out Randy Savage, Scuba takes out Penny, and now it's a 3v3 where health is not really in the favor of either side. Oxy going to take out Mitch, while Verno takes out both Oxy and Whippy, and now it's a 1v2 for Dapper. The spike's going down on the opposite side of the box, able to find Scuba, and now it's a 1v1 between Verno and Dapper. Once again. Ooh, Dapper going to be there to find Verno, and that round goes to Dapper. A 1v2 clutch. Gonna be good for G2. Going for that defuse. And now G2 has secured, at the very least, not a disadvantage going into the next half. And they also are looking at the possibility of gaining the advantage going into the next half. Oxygen, of course, now looking to find that 6th round to deny the advantage for G2. But they have to win 2 in a row, and that was a bye round from them that they didn't win. So their econ's not great, but it looks like they're going to go for the force. G2, though, having good econ off of that win is going to be in a really good spot, because again, that was a little bit of a save round from them that they once again won. So now they're going to be able to full buy here. We got that operator once again on Oxy. Now you look over at Oxygen and you see Pony the Jet pulling through for Oxygen, but you look over at G2 and Oxy, their Jet, is not really pulling through for them and not able to be that top frag that they want. That being said, though, Oxy's going to find that early pick on Scuba, but that Rolling Thunder is going to give Oxygen sight. Once again, going for this A hit. They've had a lot of success on A, so you can't blame them. Dapper, though, off of the spike down, is going to use that lockdown. And now Oxygen is going to have to figure out how they want to play this. Verno just going to use the Hunter's Fury to take out that lockdown. It works out. Meanwhile, Mitch is taking out Oxy. Now, ooh, Pony gets flashed Heaven and is able to find a pick before he's taken out by Penny. Meanwhile, Shazam takes out Mitch, and it's a 3v2 for G2 still. Player advantage in their hands. Verno going to take out Shazam. I already said that, I think. No, I didn't. And then Randy Savage takes out Penny. And now it's a 1v2, but Whippy knows where Randy Savage is. Just going to take him out. The recon bolt goes off. He's having to shoot through the smoke to try and find Verno. Whippy pushes out, and Verno knows where he is. Going to be able to take him out, and that round goes to Oxygen. They did force this round and lost most of their players. So their econ's not great, but they did win. So it's going to help them have some econ to force with, but it's the last round of the half. And G2, who full bought that round and didn't have the best econ, lost. So now their econ's not going to look great. So the gun advantage, as well as the shield advantage, well, not the shield advantage, but the gun advantage is going to be in the hands of Oxygen. And so they should be able to secure this round and keep it tied going into the next half. That's definitely what they're looking for. Oxygen doing very, very well so far. Pony really able to shine through. Jet on the offense on Haven. And of course, it's an attack-sided map, so you would want to be doing a little bit better than they are, but for them, it's not a big issue, especially knowing who they're going up against. Able to find 2 picks early on. Pony also able to take out Penny before getting traded off by Dapper. Verno going to be there to trade Dapper off, though. So now, suddenly, Shazam's all alone in a 1v4 over on A. But Oxygen isn't doing an A hit. That early pick gave G2 some false confidence that maybe it was an A hit, so Shazam stayed over there. Verno's able to not only help rotate over to C, but able to push very deep into the defense spawn, and it's going to find that pick, and that round goes to Oxygen. They've kept it tied up. Like I said, though, it's a little bit of an attack-sided map, because Haven does have 3 sites. Although in practice, in pro play, we have seen Haven not be so attack-sided. In theory, it's an attack-sided map, but nowhere near as attack-sided as Lotus. And so it's definitely possible Oxygen can still take the advantage on defense. It's not out of the picture. It's going to be a little bit easier for G2 to take the win here now that they're on offense, but it's not impossible that Oxygen is able to play well on defense and keep it, at the very least, even, or even give themselves the advantage. Oxygen is reading a mid hit, and that's a correct choice. That's a correct read, and that is where G2's going. And that blind is going to be huge. The paranoia hits Shazam and Oxy. I believe Scuba gets a like a collateral headshot. Then Scuba takes out Whippy and Dapper. I believe only 1 kill, and I think it went to Mitch. For any of the other players, so 4K for Scuba is going to win the first pistol round for Oxygen. Let me see exactly what happened there. Oh, it wasn't quite a collateral headshot, but it looked like it. And, yeah, well played. Not for Mitch, for Verno. Verno was the only one to find a kill for Oxygen. Well played there. Now Scuba's econ gonna look pretty good. Gonna go ahead and shell out on that Vandal. Of course, like I was saying, if you're on a save round against a team you know is forcing, against a team you know is forcing, you need to do econ damage by getting a few kills. Not only does that boost your own econ and help you full buy next round, but it damages the enemy's econ because they're not going to have econ to full buy or force again next round. So they're going to be in a bad spot. So G2's looking to just get a few good kills, not even necessarily looking for the win. Randy Savage going to hold down Garage, trying to deny it. That turret finds some vision, and off of that, G2 actually just backs up, and now they're leaning more towards B. Now, nobody's on B for Oxygen except for some Killjoy util, which will alert Oxygen to the presence of G2. And it looks like Oxygen may be expecting it. That smoke goes off, and Mitch is holding it, able to find that pick on Penny, and there goes the spike. They know it's on B. Now, Flash comes out from Mitch as well, trying to find another defensive pick. Pony going to take out Oxy. The Breach util is going to be able to take out Shazam. Meanwhile, Pony also takes out Dapper. Now it's just down to Whippy. Spike is down. Oxygen's just going to defuse it. Verno going to be the one to take out Whippy. Although it really could have been any of them. They were all pretty much peeking him. Flawless round from Oxygen. That econ damage that G2 was looking for was denied. Now what Oxygen is most likely going to do is just hold on to these guns. So that way they can take a bonus this round. So that means if they lose this round, they'll be able to full buy next round. And if they win, it's even better. And the fact that they didn't lose any players the previous round gives them as much of a chance of securing another win this round. Although that being said, G2 is going to be able to full buy, excluding Oxy. Going to have to go for that light shield. Again, Oxy, the duelist for G2, you want them to be pulling through. Now that they're on attacking, you'd expect Oxy to start playing a little bit better. We'll see if he's able to find those good picks, or if Pony's going to be the one to challenge and say, I'm the better Jet. We'll see, though. And, it looks like G2 is going to be leaning towards C, 2 holding mid. Not going to find anyone. Oxygen is not going to peek that. And G2 is sort of hovering in their spawn, hoping Oxygen will push them. And honestly, Oxygen is pushing them up. Sorry, I'm getting a little confused. Yeah, Oxygen is pushing them just a little bit. They've actually got 4 on a read. Now, once again, what Oxygen is looking for, they have worse guns. They're looking to do econ damage to G2 because they know that G2 is full buying here. And Oxygen may be able to do that. They've already gotten a pick. They did have to trade it off, but trades are what they're looking for when you're down a player. That you're okay taking trades. You're okay accepting that. So it's a 4v4, and because Oxygen was reading an A hit, they placed 4 over there, and it was sort of correct, but G2, seeing how many there were, just decided to back up and go to C, and it worked out. They're gonna get that spike down, and now Oxygen has to play a little bit of an aggressive retake. That drone coming through to clear garage. It finds Penny, but doesn't find anybody else. Not even Shazam in that corner. A long hit is found, and Randy Savage is actually going to try and wallbang Whippy. Able to get a good, I believe, wallbang head tap. Pony, meanwhile, going to finish Whippy off. Verno going to take Shazam out. Penny able to pick up Verno, but Randy Savage, meanwhile, taking out Oxy. And now she's down to Penny in 1v3. Scuba going to take that win, and again, that was a bonus round from G2, or sorry, from Oxygen, where they just kept the guns they had from the previous round. They're the 2 left remaining able to pick up guns, but they were okay losing there. They just wanted to get as many kills as possible. It turned into a round win, and now their econ's in a really good spot. I know I said it's a little bit of an offense-sided map, but Oxygen trying to prove me wrong. Able to secure 3 rounds in a row. A round should have easily gone to G2. Didn't. Even though G2 had the gun advantage, they weren't able to find that win. And now you can see them light buying, but the gun advantage definitely going to be in the hands of Oxygen now. And we see that operator on Pony. We'll see if he's able to find some picks with it. Oh, gonna get blinded, and now he's going to have to re-peek. Able to find Penny, and nobody's going to be there to push him and take him out. Although the jet dash comes to take B aggressively. Oxy not going to find Pony, though. Pony able to get off of sight. He's holding C-Link, or is that A-Link? No, it's C-Link. He's able to find his position in C-Link, trying to find a good pick. Now the spike is down, and they're trying to push Pony aggressively and get the pick on the operator. Not going to find it. Oxy able to take Randy Savage out. Scuba digs out Whippy, and then Pony's going to be there to take out Oxy. So it's a 2v4 for G2. Ooh, should have been an easy flank kill. Isn't going to find it. Mitch able to take him out. Dapper going to be able to find Scuba. Good trigger discipline. Able to take out Scooby and Pony. Looking for another pick. Not going to find it. Verno going to take Dapper out, and that round goes to Oxygen. Now, G2 was just looking for some kills to help boost their econ. It was a light buy from them, and they found quite a few. They were also trying to hurt Oxygen's econ, but unfortunately for them, Oxygen's econ is just a little bit too stable to deny effectively. However, they were able to do some really, really good damage and boost their own econ just a little bit. They're going to be able to full buy this round, of course, excluding Whippy. So they're in a good spot right now, econ-wise, but they do need to win this to start to secure some good econ. Oxygen did take quite a few kills that last round, so their econ's not great. They'll be able to full buy next round if they lose this one, but they would like to secure this round win in order to really truly secure as much of a round advantage or a money advantage as possible. Pony gonna take out Penny, and do they know that Scuba's pushed up into Cubby pretty aggressively? It doesn't matter, they just back up. Now Pony does take quite a bit of damage before he's able to find that pick, so or I think it was after he finds that pick, so he's in a little bit of a bad spot health-wise, but again, that player advantage still in the hands of Oxygen. Scuba's going to push Whippy here, and he's going to be able to find that pick, and now Scuba just backs up. Now the spike is still C-sided, so although G2 is leaning towards mid and A, they still have to pick up that spike. And it looks like Shazam's going to be the one to do it. Whether they take it A or B is the question. They're running low on time, so they do have to commit to sort of wherever they decide to take it. And it looks like it's going to be B, maybe Garage to C, although that Killjoy Molly is going to make them decide not to hit B, and now they're rotating over to A. Unfortunately for them, the majority of Oxygen is actually leaning A side, and that drone's coming through to clear it. But G2 doesn't really have time to rethink where they want to push, so as G2's pushing into A, Oxygen gonna have to take retake here, although most of them are A-sided, so they're already ready for this retake. They just have to play it. Using that Sova Dirt to try and clear some sides. The smokes come out to clear short and long. Now that operator's coming through from heaven. Mitch, Shazam gonna be able to take out Pony and Randy Savage, and now it's a 3v3. They've evened the player count. Mitch gonna fight Shazam though, and Verno gonna take out Oxy, and now it's a 1v3 for Dapper, and Verno gonna be there to take Dapper out, and the time not even really that low, as Oxygen was there to take a strong retake, and now they're just gonna go for that defusal. That round goes for Oxygen, and they are looking to take a flawless half here. That's what they're looking at. 2 rounds away from not losing a single round on defense. I did say it's offense-sided. I've said it like 3 times now, but apparently I was wrong. Apparently, if there's a team to disprove an offense-sided map, it's going to be Oxygen of all teams, and they're taking a strong stance. They're looking to make a little bit of an upset here and say, you know what, G2, you played well against us last time, but we would like to prevent you from ever playing well against us again. Now, obviously, this is Oxygen's chosen map, so you'd expect them to do really, really well, but this well, that's not really what I was expecting. I was expecting even maybe possibly a win from G2, but G2 has not been able to find it. Oxygen has, it's going to be like a 3 towards C side, and then 2 on A to lock it down, and Oxygen not going to really be able to escape that Breach Ultimate designed to clear sight, although they're able to get away, the one that does get hit by it, and now Oxygen is going to be able to group together for this retake, and it's going to be a 5v5 retake, no picks given yet, and a little bit of damage done to Whippy, which means Oxygen is just slightly in a better position here. The Econ's still not in the side of G2, and they decided to force this round. Now, if they lose this, they're going to have to force every single round that they play after this, which means starting it off with bad Econ would not be great for them. As I speak, though, Oxy able to find Randy Savage and Verno. Whippy going to take out Pony, but Scuba going to take out Oxy, Shazam, and Benny. Whippy, though, going to be the one to finish it off and lock it down with a total of 3 kills. And first round of this half, finally, G2 gets their first round. Took quite a while before they were able to, and there we finally see it come out. Well played there from G2. They were able to aggressively stop that Oxygen retake, but Oxygen did play their best. G2's trying to deny Oxygen that 12th round, and Oxygen's looking for that 12th round, trying to secure that impossibility of G2 taking this half and winning. But G2 definitely looking to push for a total of 7 rounds in a row and get to 13-11. That's what they're looking for. Or at the very least getting to 12 rounds and making it so it has to go to an overtime if Oxygen wants a hope of winning. But it's going to take a little while to get there. It's an upward battle. G2 is pushing C, and they're not quite able to get that spike down, and the concussion comes out, and it's effective. Oxy gets concussed. Randy Savage going to take him out. That Hunter's Fury comes out to get a kill as well for Oxygen. Only 1 pick for G2 on Oxygen, which means 2 down for G2. As I speak, though, Dapper able to take out Mitch, and now it's a 3v3. They've evened that player count, and the Killjoy lockdown is going to be very useful. Scuba going for the Omen ult. Scuba's used the most Omen ults I think I've ever seen in pro play. Not going to be able to find Shazam, though. It wasn't off angle, but his gun was just a little bit too low, and kill's going to go to Shazam, which means Oxygen now down a player. And Shazam very low on health, though. Able to heal the rest of his teammates, however. Pony with the operator. Able to find Dapper, but not going to be able to shoot him. Trying to get a wallbang hit. Maybe a wallbang headshot and get a kill, but he's not going to be able to find it. Pony picks up that Vandal. They're running out of time here. Able to take out Shazam, but again, the time is ticking. Penny going to shut Verno down, and any hope of a retake for Verno, and then it's going to have to be a double peek and not going to pay off, and that Spike's getting close to ignition. I don't think it's going to go off quite yet, but you could tell Oxygen was feeling very pressured to push there and wasn't able to, and they weren't able to, I should say. And now it's a 5... Sorry, and now, what am I saying? And now all of G2 are going to be able to full buy. Oxygen, for the first time in quite a few rounds, not going to be able to. It would be the best idea right now to just maybe take a save, rethink how you want to play this, and try and win some rounds. Now, keep in mind, G2 didn't even take a timeout yet this half. Despite how badly they were losing for a little while there, Shazam going to find Verno, and it looks like Oxygen starting to crack under this pressure. I believe Verno was the only one who bought that round, and it did not pay off. The rest of them on a save, so they all 4-stacked A. But G2 is leaning towards B. They send a dog down A, but they're not gonna. I don't think it's gonna find anybody. No. And off of no contact, they're just gonna start pushing towards B. I mean, Oxy is pushed out towards there, although it looks like G2 may be leaning towards A. Shazam and Dapper looking at it. Maybe that no contact was a sign they needed to know it's not going to be an aggressive hold on A, although it is all 4 of Oxygen on A, and it could be a correct read, because that's where G2 is leaning. The util has not yet come through from G2, so Oxygen still doesn't necessarily know, although there we go. The concussion and the bird comes through. Mitch going to be able to take out Shazam. Scuba going to be able to take out Oxy. Mitch also going to be able to take out Penny. Whippy finally shutting down Mitch, but meanwhile Pony takes out Dapper, and now it's a 1v3 for Whippy. This is an econ round for G2. Whippy picks up that spike and TPs over to C, and now you see Oxygen running. Again, this is an econ round for Oxygen, and they're up this many players. They've been able to pick up some guns. Whippy is challenging a 1v2. Gonna be able to take out Randy Savage, but Scuba gonna shut him down. And again, that was an econ round for Oxygen, and they won it with 2 of their players alive. So they're gonna be in a really good spot economy-wise, and they've secured that 12th round we were just talking about. So G2 has to go to an overtime if they want to have hope of winning this. And Oxygen, of course, gonna be able to full buy now. G2 not able to full buy. They've lost quite a few of their players on the rounds that they win, and that puts their econ in not a great spot, but it doesn't matter that they can't full buy. They have to force. They have to force every single round now, because Oxygen is on 12 rounds. It's 12-8. G2 just does not have room to save anymore. It looks like G2 is going to be pushing A, and there's only 2 on A for Oxygen. Now, I will say 1 point of poor defense, I think, for Oxygen could be if G2 decided to do more B pushes, because Oxygen likes to play mostly on A and C, and they play pretty far away from B on those C and A holds. So if G2 wanted to push B, they definitely could, and they definitely would have the option, but they don't.
Unknown's defense here.
G2 is pushing A. Now there's 2 on A for Oxygen, and that dog comes through, gets taken out, and G2 decides to just back up. It looks like maybe they're moving towards the B push, which I was just talking about. And Scuba has rotated all the way over to A to help lock it down for Oxygen. The bird comes into Garage. And Savage has a judge. He's looking for an easy pick. He gets Flash, but nobody pushes him. Flash comes through again, and they know he might be there. Dapper gonna just pre-fire and take him through the wall. And now it's a 5v4. G2 up a player. See, we do see Verno trying to play aggressively, able to find Whippy as he pushes out aggressively. Not gonna get traded off, which means he's evened it up, and now it's a 4v4. 3 on A for Oxygen, and it looks like that's where G2 is committing to a push. Scuba gonna be able to take out Shazam, who's pushing for long, and time is running out for G2. Mitch taking out Oxy, and it's just down to Penny with the spike to plant. Not gonna be able to. 6 seconds left, there's no time, and Dapper has to back up. He doesn't have time to back up, there's no room, he has to push, and Oxygen gonna take Haven. They've taken a map. I said it was probably I said best case scenario, Oxygen takes the map, and they've been able to. Maybe now they can start pushing, maybe to deny a good, easy win for G2 on Split, but...
And we knew there was a reason why they wanted to go for the rematch with those maps, with Haven and then coming next for Split, but it's good to see that early success for Oxygen, the team that we talked about.
Oxygen able to find this map, a little bit of an upset for me. I really did think G2 was going to find the win here, especially considering they were able to find the win previously, although that matchup was kept very, very close. But, you know, seeing as Oxygen switched up all of their playstyle on every map except for this one, or at least their team comp, I sort of assumed maybe it would not go in the favor of Oxygen. But they were able to find it. I was well surprised, and G2 not able to find that win, but I have confidence they can find the win on Split, unless Oxygen switched something major up. Obviously, they switched to the team comp that G2 likes to play on Split, but I don't know if that'll be enough. Let's go ahead and take a listen to what the broadcasters have to say.
Pony show.
Yeah.
Eventually, Oxygen Esports, like I said, we swapped sides, and Inverno and Scuba had a heyday. Not to mention that Pony was still doing Pony things. I feel like that kind of
It was
went
so
maybe a little.
consistent.
Is so consistent, so it went unmentioned in that second half when we start to see Scuba find a 4K in the pistol and Verno winning clutches against Dapper and finding 3Ks. And man, what a series we're in for. Like I said, the wrongs have been righted by Oxygen, but the last time they met, that was a much closer map. So this time it could have gone either way. Dryad, as we set our eyes ahead to Split. This one was a little more one-sided, so Oxygen still have to show us that they've got some tricks up their sleeve, and we get to see if they do so right after this.
Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at any of the clips that Knights Arena posted to their Twitter for that game. Let's see. We've got a few.
Shock won't deal with it, doesn't do enough damage. The operator's gone. Oxy decapitated, and Pony does it again.
And Oxy was backing up, stayed just a little bit longer, tried to get his one, and again, Pony gets the best of him. This time around with that Blade Storm, as the Rolling Thunder is ready, queue up for Penny to go for this retake.
Oof, no way, Pony. Stunned, still finds one, still alive, by the way. Has a judge, is about to be a problem. 3 kills on the round. Get this locked.
That was pretty impressive. Pony had a really
Up
good
to the
game.
Vandal. Verno with a good plant spot, back sight. First fight taken. That one goes away of Dapper, and now he's able to try again. The Owl Drone comes through. Swarm Grenade. Try and deal with the Sova on the opposite side of the box. Verno peeks, and Dapper finally gets it done. Wins the 1v1.
Esports going over on Haven to start things out. Fun.
Alright, let's take a listen to what the analysts have to say.
At times, where I'm not going to lie, it was definitely entertaining to say the least, and that's going to be one for Oxygen to go up 1-0 in the series.
Bro, entertaining. I wanted to rip my hair out like 3 different times in the first half. Like, there was so many rounds that a team lost with advantage in that first half. It was such a messy affair.
Content.
Okay, you're right. It is actually content that we watch. I can't deny that. But it's one of those situations where, G2, their struggle in the past has been defensively, right? And they only got 4 rounds against Oxygen last time around, and only got 4 rounds in their loss against Turtle Troop at the end of the split. This time, they actually still somehow wound up with 16 in the first half. But it was just a wild ride to do it. But, man, the second half was a much different story, Roy, where it seemed like Oxygen were always in control of it.
Yeah, I mean, G2 only got 2 rounds as soon as they got on that attack side. Oxygen had them read round by round. They had the right ideas, they had the right fights, but we need to really highlight the fact that Pony just had I mean, how do I put this nicely? This was a jet diff by every measure.
Yeah.
Like, Pony sat Oxy down.
And I did sort of talk about the poor... the thing that typically is the make or break for a team is the consistency between kills, and Oxygen, especially Pony, was trying to prove, no, a carry can pull through, and that's exactly what Pony did. Look at G2. I mean, they had really consistent kills across the board. 17 and then a 3-kill difference, but then it's 14, 13, 14 again. Drops down to 8 for Oxy, and it really seemed like Oxy not able to play well defensively on Jet or offensively. Pony had a really good offense for Jet, so I was sort of hoping, maybe Oxy would have the same, but he just wasn't able to find it. His footing was not found. And although Dapper had a really good game, he's the Sentinel. You don't want your Sentinel to be that number one top frag the whole time. Versus you look at Oxygen, and the ones who should be in top are. You've got the Duelist, number 1, that's what you want to see. And then you've got both the Initiators. Now, Initiators don't have to be top frag, but they are. But they are here, and it's good for them to be top frag. And then you've got the Controller, and then you have the Sentinel at the bottom. That's about what you want to see as far as kills go and fragging goes. And, it just goes to show, like, when you have your team comp playing how they should be playing, it works out. And then you look at G2, their team comps weren't doing as well as you'd want. You didn't have those duelists shining through, and it did not pay off.
As you've already kind of noted, Oxygen, in the meantime, they've made, like, a controller swap in the past, like, from Asher the Omen. And then they also kind of brought Sova back into the fold after kind of experimenting with Skye for a little bit during the qualifiers.
Yeah.
But the core of the team has kind of remained the same in that regard. And again, G2 was the only blemish on their record, on this map. Throughout qualifiers, they were hot on Haven. And now they get their revenge back on G2 today. After a little bit of a bumpy ride in the first half for Fronis. Again, we'll skip that. Very good second half, though, from Oxygen. Really had full control of the game the whole time.
We'll have to see, though, if our next map, if this is where G2 just goes back with that revenge and this is back to Oxygen, because Split was also one that we got to see these two teams throw down before. G2 took Oxygen on both maps, but Split, my goodness, they absolutely ran away with this. So not really a surprise to see them pick it up for the second map. My biggest question is what Oxygen has to offer since that loss last time around.
I will say, like, you gotta wonder, okay, Oxygen let Split come through the map pick. They didn't ban. They banned Fracture, which tells you they're confident enough with their split to allow it to funnel through and allow G2 to pick it. And so we'll see if Oxygen, able to pick up Split is going to, we'll see if G2, who's able to pick up Split, is going to do just as well against Oxygen as they did previously, or if it's going to be another big, another time for Oxygen to show, no, we are improving. And although we had to sort of copy your team comp in order to get it, will Oxygen, even with that copied team comp, be able to find the holes in G2's playstyle? Will the pressure be too much for G2, or will G2 just as easily, like a warm knife through butter, take back and take out Oxygen here on Split? I expect G2 to do well. I would expect that, but I also expected them to do better on Haven than they did. So honestly, we could see an upset here. We'll see. I do want to hear what the commentators have to say, though.
Interesting interaction here.
Hey, if you can't beat them, join them, right? So if that's going to be the case as well, going up on Split and playing a mirror composition, then that's, I think, where, again, we start looking at the players and the jet diff or any other diff that was happening. And a lot of that first map, too, I feel literally just was the pony show as everyone else kind of woke up. But in the second half, just when people did start waking up, if we could see people like Scuba being able to really step up on Split, I'm really excited then for this next map.
Yeah, me too. And again, like we kind of talked about it, like Oxygen is a more well-rounded team than just Pony. Again, Scuba kind of ranks in the top 10 in a lot of key categories. Verno is just outside the top 10 in a lot of key categories. So they definitely have some other individually talented players that can surround Pony and really help him out. But honestly, he didn't really even need it that last game. The two was just diffing everybody. It's crazy to see, because I think if you would have asked people who's been the more impressive duelist this split, has it been Oxy or has it been Pony? You'd probably pick Oxy, honestly. But that's no real insult to Pony, because he's also been excellent. But now that they've matched up head-to-head in their second meeting, Pony got the better of him in that first map. Now they're both going to be switching over to Raze, more than likely, unless, they decide to make a change. But history tells us that. And it'll be interesting to see how they interact with each other across this matchup as well.
Yeah.
I feel like, too, at this point, if all of a sudden we can see Oxy maybe stay away from Pony, or if we can maybe see the Raze diff come out the opposite way, well, it could be an entirely different series. But it's time to get started with Split and toss it on over to our casters.
Not muted this time, by the way. Not muted this time.
Nice.
Doing it correctly. Fortunately, we figure out as the day goes on, just like the teams figured out as the match goes on. G2 unfortunately struggled to figure it out. Now we heard the devs talk about a Dryad. A change in composition, as Oxygen thought, what we're doing doesn't work the best. Let's go ahead and try what does work and what worked against us.
Yeah.
They win the next couple of times on Split, and now we are going to have this mirror matchup of teams who played a couple of weeks ago, but have revisited these maps in leading into this series.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, hey, I think we're headed to 3. I would love to see 3, because I'm pretty sure we have Lotus on the tail end of this one.
We might be seeing those 3 maps, right? So we talked about how the first and second map are the same as week number 3 when these two teams face each other. But okay, that Haven was very, very close between the two. That's why Oxygen wanted to go with it first. Split, though, was a little bit more one-sided for G2. It was a 13-4. And sure, we believe and we've seen the changes that Oxygen has made and how much better they've been looking recently. But it's still... you have to wonder, are the changes enough, and is the communication and everything else working out enough to close it out in 2?
And it also makes me think, right? G2 coming into this series obviously had an idea of how the vetoes would go and what they wanted to change should things look similar. So we go out to Haven, they change up their comp, and unfortunately doesn't work the same that it did previously. Now that we move out to Split, I don't think we'll see as much of a change in composition, but G2 definitely look like the team that feels they have to mix it up in this one. So that way, Oxygen has a hard time reading them. And I guess if you're not a G2 fan, but you're maybe a Guard fan or a Valen fan, he said he wants to play G2. So they're also hoping for a G2 reverse sweep here in this one, and it starts here on Split. I think what was mentioned by Dust, both teams winning this map recently, after having played it together,
Yeah.
the maps were a lot closer for Oxygen Esports. It wasn't as clean as we've seen G2 Esports beating teams 13-4. We've seen 13-9s, I think, in both of the maps that have been played. So G2 are definitely reared up to, I would say, the favorites maybe coming into this one. I think it all comes down to how they're feeling after a pretty crushing defeat where they made some changes that didn't work. And if they're second guessing themselves of, I guess, the way that they play the game now moving forward.
And for that, I feel like they still have to feel that comfort. I know we have that feeling for a couple of teams where they're down in one map and things don't really go your way, where the mental can play a part into it. But I feel like having a leader like Shazam, they're able to get that reset a little quicker, and especially with the stats that they have on Split, with the score that they got against Oxygen in the week number 3, I mean, everything is in the favor of G2 to take us to the map number 3.
Yeah.
Everything really lining up here in the cards. There should be no reason that G2 aren't feeling confident coming into this one. And in my notes, what I had scribbled in our head-to-head was Oxy clears Pony. We saw the stats before coming into this series.
No.
Where Oxy stats, they were just better. They weren't much better, but they were better. We were expecting Oxy to be the better duelist. Now we do get a different swap, right? Now we do get less of maybe the op duel that we would have got on Haven between the Jets. Pony looked really proficient on the rifle, so now if both are still playing this Raze, I think we look back to
All right.
and we see if there is
Enough talk.
a change
Let's,
in
oh shoot.
maybe
Enough
more
talk.
change
Let's
in
just
approach.
get right into it. G2 versus Oxygen. We're on Split. G2 dominated Oxygen on Split last time they faced off against each other, but the team comp has changed from Oxygen. They've switched around what agents their players are playing, and we'll see what happens. Oxy goes for Raze, Randy Savage. I mean, I don't even really have to read these out. All of the picks are identical. Sage, Cypher, Astra, Raze, and Sky. The reason I don't have to read it out, and the reason I know they're identical, first of all, because I can see it, but also because Oxygen decided to adopt G2's team comp that G2 used against Oxygen. And Oxygen was like, alright, you know what? Sure, our Split comp is not great. We'll just take yours. You know, can't beat them, join them, like the desk said earlier. And that's what Oxygen did. And we'll see if it's paying off, or we'll see if it does pay off. Although I would feel like G2 would know how to play against their own team comp. That would make sense. You know, you gotta know what is wrong within your own team comp in order to improve upon it. So we'll see if G2 knows how to play well against their own team comp, or if Oxygen if Oxygen will be able to adopt it well. Anyways, Oxygen going to be on attacking first, going for A. They do got that lurk from Randy Savage over on B. We'll see what happens here though, and Randy Savage will probably start rotating over towards A as Oxygen has started pushing into A more. They're fighting that Heaven. Oxy able to contest it well, taking out Pony. Gonna be able to find the head and get a good head tap there, but he is going to get traded off. So now it's a 4v4. Oxygen very low on health, however. Randy Savage, who was, again, lurking B and mid, now gonna wait for the rest of his team to join him as Oxygen has backed up off of A and is now moving over towards B. Looking at Garage, will we see any go Heaven? Through mid, and no. Alright. All of them going to be contesting B, and it looks like Dapper's all alone to contest it. He gets some vision there, now he's gonna have to figure out how he wants to contest it. The trap wire goes off, and a one-way goes off as well, but he's not gonna be able to find a pick with it. The sage wall goes off, and he's getting distracted by it. Randy Savage gonna be able to loop around and take him out. Dapper just barely realizing that might be happening, and it gets taken out. Now again, the health not there for Oxygen. They're in a really bad spot health-wise, and Verno opts to you know, heal with Scuba there rather than Mitch, who's very, very low in health. We'll see if that comes into play, or if that was a good choice, although Mitch could just get shot through the smoke, realistically. We'll see if that happens, though. The smoke's about to come down. Penny now going to tap the spike, it looks like. Yeah, he does shoot through the smoke and then get shot through the smoke. Shazam going to take out Mitch. Randy Savage going to take out Penny. Whippy and Shazam each able to get a kill. Randy Savage with a 3K going to take out Shazam, but it's a 1v2, and Whippy's going to be there to trade it off. The time was ticking, and Oxygen wasn't able to play post-plant for nearly as long as they needed to. And 6 seconds left of the clock for that defuse, and G2 going to take the first pistol, and now they're going to be able to force and should be able to get another round off of this. Of course, Oxygen just going to save, looking to do good econ damage. We did see this on the last map where G2 won the first round of defense, won the second round of defense, but Oxygen was able to do really good econ damage on that second round, and pretty much denied good round momentum for G2. It did end up going tied into the second half, but we'll see if either team is able to prevent what happened last round from happening, or last map from. We'll see if either team is able to prevent what happened last map from happening this map as well. Oxygen is pushing into B here, and Dapper's Cam just spot them, so they do know that there's at least one pushing into B, and it is their duelist. So Oxygen just decides to back up and join Randy Savage in mid.
Good information.
Shazam's holding this wall, expecting maybe somebody to satchel over it, but it does get broken, and now he's going to back up, send that dog through, try and get some good vision. It's going to be stopped before it can actually attempt to concuss anybody. He does spot Pony, not able to connect any shots, but neither is Pony, so Oxygen just decides to back up. Now they're going through sewers towards A. Only 2 on A for G2, 3 over on B for G2, expecting maybe another re-hit, but Oxygen does not want to re-hit here. It's just going to be left down to 2 to defend A. Oxygen deciding not to go heaven at all. Oxy going to be the first to see them. Oxy able to take out Mitch and Randy Savage. Now, this is a save round for Oxygen, so they're just trying to do econ damage. Scuba able to take out Whippy, but Oxy with a 4K going to finish him off. 5 health left, but it doesn't really matter how much health you have left. It just matters that you get the kills, and G2's able to. And G2's able to. Now, when you're on a save round and your enemy is forced, you just want to do good econ damage, and Oxygen wasn't able to do that. They weren't able to find those kills.
You want to get that confidence back, especially that first kill that we saw for this map. It was Oxy taking that Pony, and now it's Noble.
Now it's looking like Oxygen is leaning towards a little bit of a split push over on Split.
6 rounds right after. So definitely looking forward to do the same, especially when you're on the defensive side. And you know how much.
And defensive wall there is going to be well placed, as there is 2 from Oxygen who are looking to get an aggressive pick or early engagement.
The lurk play. Randy Savage was hoping to get activated. Tossed out 1 cage, 2 cage.
Oxygen breaks the sage wall to deny vision for G2, and that actually places 3 on A now for G2. When it's again a little bit of a split push, and that spike is in sewers, so it's leaning more towards that A side, but it could very easily be picked up and taken through mid to B heaven. Now Pony's getting ready to come in for this Vents play, and G2 actually thinks it's a B hit.
Or G2 doesn't spot anybody. Oxygen feeling comfortable with this early default. With 40 seconds remaining, it's going to end up towards this A side. Whippy is here. He's been shutting down the play towards A. He might be able to do it again with Penny.
Yeah, and they don't hear any aggression through vents. The guiding light doesn't get anything out towards A.
Only able to take out Whippy. Randy Savage going to take out Penny, and now they're going to be able to get on site and plant. Now G2 going to have to figure out how to play this retake. Heaven has been blocked off. The Neural Theft comes out, and it's going to give a little bit of vision as to where G2 may be. Shazam now coming in to challenge Pony and Elbow. Backed up by Mitch, they're going to be able to find that pick. Meanwhile, Verno takes out Dapper Heaven, and Oxy going to finish Verno off, but Scuba going to trade that off, and that round goes to Oxygen. Their first round, and again, it's a round they should have won. They had better guns there. G2 was just looking to do good econ damage, and they weren't really able to. Only finding 1 pick isn't going to be good enough. So now Oxygen going to be in an okay spot econ-wise. G2 going to force this round, and they're looking for a win.
potentially towards it. I mean, the Cypher utility by itself, it's so annoying to deal towards B. So there is that safety for G2 to put that pressure a little bit more to the right part of the map, and that is exactly what they're going to do. Double satchel in, though, for Pony. Doesn't get anything just yet. They're looking for
An aggressive push up from Pony isn't going to find a pick. Shazam going to be able to shut it down. Shazam also going to be able to take Scuba out. Oxy going to be able to use his ultimate and dig Verno out. And this A push has been aggressively denied by G2. And now she's down to Mitch and Randy Savage from long.
With the reinvestment from Scuba into this one, but it is shut down immediately by G2.
with 3 players that were looking and trying to chase Pony, making sure that he doesn't get anything done. This Satchels, even the showstopper as well for Oxy to guarantee 1 more kill. Really good scenario, really good play for G2. I think in a way playing...
And Oxygen might want to save here. They don't really need to. Their econ's okay, but they would like to. I mean, it wouldn't... Sorry, it wouldn't hurt to do so. Sorry, I was a little bit distracted. No longer distracted. Back in it.
And speaking of surprise,
2v5 is difficult. They're just looking for a pick. Shazam able to take out Mitch. Randy Savage, though, gonna find a kill. Shazam gonna take Randy Savage out, and that's another 4K in the hands of G2. Again, now they're starting to try and take this dominant performance on Split, similarly to how they dominantly performed on Haven, although Oxygen's doing okay so far. And again, their econ was okay, so they didn't super need to save there, but also they weren't in the best spot either. So now Oxygen taking a timeout, and Pony is starting to suffer. I guess his Jet is just a little bit better than his Raze, and he hasn't been able to find his stride with it.
Nothing found yet, and they don't need to so far. 3 rounds.
The score's 3-1. Oxygen not looking great. They're going to take a timeout. I don't know if this is the best choice. I mean, G2 won those first 2 pistol rounds, and I guess it was a little bit of a save for G2. Not a save, but they did have slightly worse guns, so Oxygen, I guess, just feels a little bit bad about losing that. We'll see what they decide to do here. We've already seen Verno purchase a Vandal, but they may just decide to sell that and go for a save. Honestly, that's probably the safest idea. I think Oxygen should just try to secure as many rounds as possible here on offense, because their offense does seem to be lacking so far, so it may just be the safest move to save. That being said, though, if you look at Dapper and Penny, both have 0 kills still. All of Oxygen have at least 1 kill, but G2's, you can already see it's going to be a little bit of a carry from, looks like Oxy and Shazam, but it's paid off for them, so don't have to be worried there, and we're starting to see Oxy shine through for G2 finally. Didn't see him do it very much on Haven, and definitely felt bad about that, so you can see him start to perform better here. We'll see if he's able to find a pick. Heaven. Trying to find an early kill there, not going to be able to find it. Penny and Oxy going to lock it down, take out Mitch and Pony. The Astra Suck going to perfectly hold Verno there, and Penny's going to take him out, and now it's a 5v2 once again. Once again, Oxygen find themselves in a tough spot. They don't have the spike now. Stuck in Heaven. Scuba trying to find an easy pick. Not able to find it. Oxy going to take him out, though. Randy Savage going to finish Oxy off, so it's not a flawless round. Now it's just down to Randy Savage. It's a save round for them, so there's no point in saving. So looking for some early vision there. Sends that cam out. Gets destroyed immediately. Kind of wallbang there. Able to do some damage to Penny, but it's not going to be useful. And Dapper on top of that wall, just going to peek over as Randy Savage gets flashed and take him out. 1 kill for Oxygen. Although it was a save round, they definitely wanted to perform a little bit better there than they did. It's not going to be great for them. Score's 4-1. Now Oxygen going to be back on a bye round. They want to secure this win. G2's econ has been sufficiently stabilized. Now Oxygen going to be in a little bit of a tough place. Wall comes up, and the Cypher util for Oxygen is starting to come over, but not going to get any vision as that wall is there. Now, any vision on A main is just going to get denied, and they have no idea where they could possibly be over on A. They're going to walk into both Sentinels on A if they decide to go. They're looking at vents, and that Raze Util comes out to try and deny any push from G2 into Vents. But there's 3 on B for G2, and so Oxygen may have a safe choice to go A, although both Sentinels are there, so it's a little bit of a difficult push. So far, G2's defense has been very solid and hard to break through for Oxygen. Sky Ultimate is out, and it's slowly going to catch up to Oxygen in Heaven. G2 knows that they're there, that that offensive wall is going to help push G2 off. Meanwhile, though, over on B, Whippy going to be able to take out Scuba. Verno going to take out Oxy, though, over on A, so it's a 4v4 now. Dapper going to be able to take out... Oh my god, Penny with the 3k as Dapper takes out Verno is going to make it a quick finish for G2, only losing one of their players. Oxygen now not good at all. That was a full buy from them. Their econ's now going to look very, very... it's very, very tough. It's a difficult climb now for them, especially off of that loss.
There was one lurkers coming through, gets shot down, and after that point...
Now Oxygen going to be on another save, and it looks like G2 could be looking at a dominant performance. This is not looking good for them. Not looking good for Oxygen. G2, though, looking very happy right now. You know they're feeling good. They did take that loss on Haven, but now they should be able to push for a 13th round. Penny puts that mid wall up. Just trying to play defensively. Shazam also in Vents. He's crouched down looking for a pick, but his crosshair is not where Pony is. Not expecting him to be up that high, and Pony's going to be able to take him out. Penny's going to trade it off, but this is a save run for Oxy, so they're not... Sorry, for Oxygen. So they're not looking for a whole lot of kills or even a round win, but G2 just going to secure, trying to make it seem as though they are impenetrable, and that res comes off, so they're trying to keep all 5 players alive for their econ. Now it's all Scuba alone in a 1v5. Not even going to be able to find Oxy. It should have been an easy kill for him, but he's not able to find it. Gets flashed, and Penny's going to come out and finish him off. Score going to be 6-1, and G2 has secured that 6th round. There's no hope of Oxygen taking the advantage on their attacking. Now, this map is a little bit defense-sided, but I don't know if it'll matter. I mean, Oxygen may not be the team to defeat G2 Split. It seems like G2 Split is the strongest split we'll probably see, maybe in North American Challengers. And, Oxygen definitely looking to try and dig in there and shut down that split play, but haven't really been able to. The Sky Dog comes out looking for some early vision mid. Now this is another buy round from the Oxygen. Will it pay off? Probably not, but we'll see. They do have 4 ultimates to utilize, and G2 has none. When he has a showstopper to use. Well, it looks like Oxygen is not going to commit to this B push. Offense on Split is really, really difficult because there's so many choke points in mid and pushing into the main sites from those main entrances, and it's just difficult. It's a difficult offense, but that doesn't mean it's impossible for offense to do well on Split. However, it does appear that Oxygen has not really been able to find very much footing and push through, and G2's defense seems to be holding very steady. Oxygen needs to find some way to push through. Then Asher Wall comes up as they're trying to push B, and that showstopper comes up as well. Gonna take out Penny. Nobody's gonna be able to shut him down. Mitch gonna take out Oxy, but Dapper with 3k gonna take out Mitch, Pony, and Verno. Scuba finally gonna shut him down, so it's a 2v2. Shazam Heaven gonna get aggressively pushed. He's gonna be able to find Randy Savage. Scuba gonna finish him off though, and now it's a 1v1, which Scuba wins. 3k for Scuba, and that round does go to Oxygen. Now, it can be easy to look at this and go, wow, Oxygen won a round. Maybe it's the start of something cool, but their econ's not great. They full bought that round, put themselves in a bad econ position. won, but most of their players died, which means not in a great place econ-wise, and you're already going to see some light shield purchases having to be bought, versus you look at G2, who still has a very solid econ, even has that operator on Oxy, and Oxygen had to use almost all of their ults to secure that round, which means they only have Verno's res left. I don't know if it'll even get the chance to be utilized. Verno dies pretty quickly.
A little bit more is gonna be needed. That early pick towards mid would be ideal.
Bird comes out and it's gonna blind the operator in mid.
Forces the operator to back out.
I was wondering if we would get the operator since we have.
Only trying to clear mid, able to do so. Now he's gonna have to face whether they go vents or heaven or B heaven. We'll see, and it looks like Pony's gonna try and clear vents. Able to do so, make some noise jumping down, and now Oxygen, or sorry, now G2 knows that Pony is in vents. You see that camera from Dapper gonna try and lock it down.
And even then, they know it. They're being so careful about it because on the other side, G2 is waiting patiently. They don't need to push. They're not going aggressive into these early rounds. They're going to late rounds.
Oxygen now has looped around for mid and started going through A main. Pony going to be able to take out Dapper, and now it's just down to Penny and Evan trying to break that wall and deny some good info for Oxygen. But now Oxygen's on site, has that spike down, and now G2 has to play retake. Bruno's in vents. Good positionally for Oxygen and their upper player. This could be a round win from them, even though they had worse shield. It may not matter. They're just able to hit those heads. Bruno's still vents, and he's getting pushed, and he's going to be able to take Penny out. Now it's a 5v3. They're not expecting Pony there. He's going to be able to push through the smoke, take Whippy out. Shazam going to be there to trade it off, but doesn't really matter. Shazam also going to be able to take Randy Savage out, but Scuba going to trade that off. And 3 players left alive for Oxygen. A good win for them. And honestly, I did say it's not going to be the start of a comeback, or it couldn't be the start of a comeback, but it really could be. Tech pause.
3 for 3 on the day, Dryad.
I guess G2 started losing and got a little bit mad. No, I'm just kidding. The kills are pretty consistent for both teams. You see some good consistent kills. Although G2 looks pretty consistent, 999, but then it's a 4-kill drop-off between Penny and Dapper, and then Dapper and Whippy are tied. So it's not bad, their kill differences, but you would hope that their kills are a little bit more consistent. Versus you look at Oxygen and it's 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, so the differences are only 1 kill, so they're consistently playing pretty well. But obviously you want all of your players to be consistently getting a lot of kills, and that's where the consistency matters. And Oxygen really isn't, not even one of their players is getting a whole lot of kills. But who knows? Maybe they'll get enough wins here to tie it back up. They just need 3 in a row. Do wonder what this tech pause is about.
Tripwires aren't getting as much value as they could, and then Dapper dying early there obviously does not help. But I'm wondering what changes there, because those tripwires are going to be dealt with every single time, especially if
He's tied right now. What am I saying? It is not tied. It's 6-3. Oxygen looking to tie it up.
What changes, if anything changes?
Just as they were able to tie up the first half of Haven, and that was defense versus offense, although Haven's a little bit more offense-sided, so that wasn't the best outcome for them, but they were able to turn it around. Now, this map's a little bit defense-sided, so if Oxygen can keep it close, maybe get to a 4-8, or even a 5-7, or, you know, they still have the potential to go to a 6-6, that could work out well for them, and that could be good for them. See if their chat knows what's happening with...
Then they go into A, play a little bit more passive, a little more far back, and now they change it again. They go for that one play, but yeah.
Let's see.
Things cannot remain that way if G2 wants to take the lead into this first half, and it is interesting to see as well the way that Oxygen starts to read a little bit more and more into how this defensive side looks.
Looks like nobody really knows anything yet. It's a little bit of a longer tech pause, not the longest we've seen.
It was working really well, but then Dapper holding down the A site was also working, and working very well, right? So
It's
they
just
have
the
some
util, yeah.
yeah, and they have some time in this tech pause, obviously coachless, but to maybe revisit, the thought process of how Dapper is setting up and where Dapper is setting up. Because when Oxy and Shazam start the game this hot, why not just continue to give them the fights A main, right? Fight A main anytime that you can. Allow Oxy to have a similar performance to Pony did, as Pony did.
It's like still no knowledge on
Yeah,
what's
there is
happening with the
that
tech
chance.
pause.
You do expect that.
Honestly, I do think this
Setup
map
to
could go to Oxygen, but it's very unlikely. They're keeping it interesting, but I just don't think there's a whole lot of hope for them, knowing how well G2 does tend to play on Split, and especially how well they did against Oxygen previously. I do think Oxygen's going to play a little bit better than they did last time they played against G2 on Split, but I don't think they're going to be able to... I mean, they're able to do a good job of denying G2 some of these defensive rounds, but I think when it switches rounds, like, Oxygen's been able to figure out maybe a little bit how G2 plays on their defense, and that's why Oxygen is able to do well, but when it switches, Oxygen may just not be able to lock down their own defense against G2's offense. And, we'll see. It looks like nobody has any information.
Coaches. I do want to visit just some of the stats real quick as we look at this one.
It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of information on that. It's just people.
A little skewed because of the last time they met G2 here. They only got 2 rounds on either side. But if you're going into the second half with that in mind, I believe a 40% win rate to the 41 defense.
I don't even know what is happening in this chat.
Come out of this technical pause and find 3 more rounds, tie us up at 6 to give them the best chance at closing this one out 2-0. Otherwise, we are going to be headed out to that map 3. We are going to get to see that Lotus. But it sounds like we're taking a bit of extra time to get reconnected into our voice comps. We're going to hop away for a short break. When we come back, we will be finishing Split with everybody, players and coaches involved.
He said it was a voice comms issue. Looks like. So, I guess we just wait for a little while. I don't really have anything else to talk about. I've talked about this matchup. I guess we can sort of talk about the matchups that are happening tomorrow. We can go ahead and look at the schedule. It's going to be M80 versus Voice Moguls to start it off. And then it'll be, people coming after that is probably going to be G2 versus, the Guard versus Oxygen. But it could be the Guard versus G2. It'll be the Guard versus whoever wins this right now. Yeah, and then I believe the games resume on Tuesday of next week. And that'll start with the lower bracket the first 2 days of next week. So Tuesday and Wednesday will be focused on getting through those first 2 rounds of the lower bracket. And then it goes back to the upper bracket. We're going to do the upper final. Because we will know the results of the upper semifinal. So we'll do the upper final on Thursday, and then, the upper final takes place on Wednesday as well. It's going to be a long day, it looks like. It starts out with the upper final, then it goes to the lower final, and then finally, and then it goes to the lower round 2, and then finally the lower round, the other round of lower round 2. And then, Thursday, we go to the lower round 3, then we move on to the lower final, as we'll already know the results of the upper final. So the loser of the upper final goes to the lower final to compete against whoever wins in that lower bracket. Then the lower final happens. The winner of that gets to go to the grand final with whoever won the upper final. Grand final takes place on Friday, I believe. That is going to happen before the lower final. So that happens first, and then the lower final happens. Or no, sorry, it happens after the... What am I saying? The grand final happens... That'll be the only thing happening on Friday. Let me see if I get these dates right. So Tuesday... So this is Tuesday, Wednesday, also Wednesday, Thursday, both of these, and then Friday. Alright, so this will be Friday. I believe this is going to be best of 5. I think the lower final is also best of 5. I could be wrong about that. So those will be some long matches to sit back and enjoy between whoever wins those. I mean, already my pick'ems have been kind of messed up. I was right about the guard. I was right about M80 because you know they're you know I don't it's the guard and M80. I don't think anybody's gonna be able to defeat them. But I picked TSM to beat Moist Moguls, and I was wrong about that. Although I did pick M80 to win this matchup, which is now Moist Moguls versus M80. I picked M80 to win that, so I'll probably be right about that. But everything gets thrown off down here because, yeah, it's going to be a little bit different than I anticipated. So I guess I can give my new predictions. What do I think is going to happen in the upper semifinals? This first one, M80 versus Moist Moguls. Pretty obviously, it's going to be Moist Moguls winning that. Or, yeah, pretty obviously it's going to be Moist Moguls. No, it's going to be M80 winning that. I don't think there's a chance Moist Moguls can beat them. Literally no chance. Best case, sort of like what I said with Disguise. Best case scenario, they get one map, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there's a chance. And then down here in the lower round, one, I think, honestly, it could go either way. We saw TSM play against Disguised already. TSM did win that, but it was really close, both of those games, if I remember correctly. I guess I can pull it up. Still got time, so I'll pull it up. This. Yeah, this matchup. Can't. There we go. So this matchup, believe, yeah, they both nearly went to overtime. It went to that third map. The first one went to overtime, and that was TSM's pick. So I thought Disguise was going to do better off of that because then Ascent didn't go. So yeah. Either way, though, even though TSM did take it, it was still 2-1, and it was very, very close. So I think now that they're facing off against each other once again down here, I really think it could once again go either way, especially now that the teams know how they play against each other. They're going to be able to study those VODs, figure out exactly what they did wrong. So again, both teams will have improved since then, and we'll see how it goes. Although TSM did lose to Moist Moguls, so, you know, they're not looking great right now. Anyways, it looks like we're back. Looks like we're back finally. Let's get back into it. 6-3 still the score. And Oxygen now leaning over towards B. Not entirely sure what happened there, but does seem to have gotten worked out. Hopefully it doesn't happen again, whatever it was. Now Oxygen going to be leaning towards this B push. I will say, when G2 and Oxygen played against each other previously, there was another similarly long tech pause for that. Actually, I don't think it was similarly long, but Oxygen had a tech pause. One of them disconnected right at the end of a round. So, you know, maybe Oxygen's getting a little bit mad that they're losing Split again. Only joking, of course. And it looks like Oxygen is going to be leaning towards mid. They see it's walled off once again, and that that wall has gone off every single time from Penny mid. And it's pretty good at giving good vision as to, like, if they're going mid or not. I mean, Oxygen doesn't break it to deny that vision, so G2 can pretty confidently stave off of mid, and Oxygen is now leaning towards an A push. He's locked down by Shazam and Dapper, the Dapper Cypher Util there to try and prevent any easy push for Oxygen, and Oxygen is able to just go Heaven. There is a trap wire, which Shazam is able to cash in on. Dapper's going to take out Pony. Randy Savage able to shut down Dapper, but Oxy going to trade it off. Oxy now coming through with the Showstopper, looking to hunt down Mitch, able to, and then Penny takes out Scuba. 4 players left alive for G2 on that round win. Like I said, Oxygen should just be looking on a little bit of a defense-sided map. Should be okay looking for 4 rounds, or 5 even, going into the next half. 3 is okay, but obviously as many as you can get, the better. Now we're moving into 2 rounds left in this half, so Oxygen would like to get at least 1 more of those rounds, and they're forcing here. Now if they lose this round, it's not going to be great for their econ next round either, but, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, Oxygen looking for a mid push, and that wall's not there this time, and they're able to capitalize on it. Pony gonna take out Oxy. Oxy, who had an operator, not able to hit their shots. Now Penny using that wall to wall off the Heaven and just hold on top of it. Maybe a good choice. Bunny going to break it. And it is going to get destroyed to deny that vision. And now Oxygen backs off of that. It also gets smoked off. Oxygen isn't actually backing off of it. Pony spraying through that smoke, trying to make some noise. And then those Astra Stars come out as well. And it looks like Oxygen is going to commit to this B Heaven push from Male. Penny's holding a little bit of an op angle. Not going to find a pick. Whippy able to take out Pony and Randy Savage. Randy Savage taking out Penny in the meantime. So it's a 3v3. Mitch able to take out Shazam while Whippy trades that off. Scuba going to trade that off, though. So now it's a 1v2 for Dapper. Let me clutch this up. Spike's still not down for Oxygen. He does get that knowledge as to where they are, and Verno Rez is here to secure this round. This is what I'm talking about. They just want to secure as many rounds as they possibly can. And knowing they're not going to be able to get the advantage going to the next half, they're just going to try and secure it here. That plant goes down. Now Dapper has money. He doesn't have to save. Ooh, from Heaven with a long-range Phantom. It's difficult to connect those shots, and Mitch going to take Dapper out. 3 players left alive for Oxygen, and they're going to be able to take that round. They're looking for another. They definitely want that 5th round. They did force that round, and it paid off. They got a win off of it, so their econ's okay right now, and it's the last round of the half, so you know they're just trying to secure that 5th round. Again, a little bit of a defense-sided map, and especially when you're trying to play against a team like G2, defense would probably be easier for Oxygen. And so they're definitely hoping for that round switch, but they want to make it as easy as possible for them to come back, so they're looking for as many rounds as possible going into the next half, and 5-7 would definitely be a good amount. Dapper knows it's going to be a bit of a B push, and so puts that one way up, and now he's backing up, hoping Oxygen will push through, but Oxygen decides to back up. G2 just playing it safe, and they're sending Oxy over towards B.
They're not giving free fights at the start of the round.
But it's the same. You contest, you try to spot who's gonna be on that B side.
Now Oxygen is coming down mid.
It's not trying to contest that B main.
Penny, what's Penny looking to do here? Smoke of their own, a Nebula, Pony, spotted.
Pony coming through mid, gonna be able to take out Penny. Dapper gonna trade it off, but Verno gonna take out Oxy, and then Randy Savage gonna take out Dapper. So now it's a 2v4 for G2. Both Shazam and Whippy were all the way over on A trying to lock it down, and Oxygen has successfully executed and gotten on to B. Seems they finally figured out how to outplay G2 here just a little bit, but it's a little bit late. It's now going to be a 7-5 going in the next half, but as many rounds as possible is good for them. That Astro Wall comes out. Both birds for either team go off. They know where both Whippy and Shazam are. Whippy going to win a 1v1 with Randy Savage. Verno going to flank Shazam, able to find that kill, and now it's just down to Whippy. That Astro Wall comes down, and unfortunate timing is Mitch just going to be able to take him out. So 7-5, Oxygen was able to pull it back just a little bit in their favor. Winning a pistol round here would be really good for them and helping them get it back close and keeping it close. They want to get back to that position where the rounds are close.
Now the real test is what can they do on the defense. We didn't really get the chance to see it all last time these two teams played split, but
sorry, G2 now going to be on the offense, and it looks like they're going to be going for an A push. We'll see if an aggressive A push is what they want. G2 reading a mid push, and it's actually a bad read. That's not where that's Oxygen reading a mid push, and that's a bad read because that's not where G2 is. Sorry, the colors are messing me up. That boombot comes through, and it actually goes off. It's going to do some good damage, but Oxy's not looking where any of Oxygen is. Scuba and Randy Savage also going to be able to both going to be able to get a kill. Only one kill so far for G2. As I speak, Whippy takes out Randy Savage for a trade, so now it's a 3v3. Although Oxygen is very low on health. Now G2 getting on site and getting that spike down. And Pony pushing through the smoke, going to be able to take out Whippy. It's traded off by Shazam. So now it's a 2v2. Again, health not in the favor of Oxygen right now. Shazam able to take out Verno, and Mitch coming in through Heaven, going to get flashed and doesn't know where to look. Dapper going to take Mitch out. 2 players left alive for G2. They win that pistol round, and now it's going to make that gap, which was 7-5, much wider between G2 and Oxygen.
8 rounds now for G2.
G2 just going to force here the full Spectre, full shield loadout. We'll see if they're able to secure this round. Of course, Oxygen just trying to do econ damage. That's what they want to look for. Getting as many kills as possible in G2, so that way the force buy from G2 is not going to be useful for them. That's what Oxygen wants to happen. We'll see if they're able to. G2 now pushing into A.
Over and over again, even the rounds that Oxygen are winning, and we're winning in that first half, were a little bit messy. Trying to get any space, no matter what it took.
Coming through to Heaven, they spot Randy Savage. They start shooting through the box, trying to get a wallbang hit, but it's not going to land. And it was just Randy Savage all alone on A. The rest of his team over on B, expecting a B hit. And it looks like it's going to pay off as G2's backing up off of A and rotating through sewers. It looks like they're going to go through mid to B, but either way, they are pushing B here. It's going to be a 4v5 over on B, as, again, Oxygen had a good read. G2 peeked into A, thought about it, and now they are rotating all the way over to B. It's a long rotate, but they're doing it. Clear vents, and now they're coming in through A, B Heaven, and Oxygen is ready for it. The off angle should have been an easy pick for Mitch, but it's not going to hit them. And although the stack is in the favor of Oxygen, they're not going to find any kills. Just as I speak, Verno gets that kill off, but now it's just down to Randy Savage to do as much econ damage as possible, get down the shield of G2, or maybe even get a pick. Alone, Randy Savage coming in through alley. Will he be able to find a pick? He's not getting flanked or anything. And G2 doesn't yet know where he is, but Penny's watching alley. Looks like Randy Savage is going to deny the econ bonus that G2 would get from a kill and try and hold the exit. G2 knows where he is, and it looks like they're not going to try and greed for that kill.
For the next round, it is maybe the most important round here for Oxygen.
Looks like G2 is just going to back up. Savage pushing in, looking for an exit pick, not going to find it. Just decides to die to the spike. Good choice, you get that ult orb. But that's another round in the favor of G2, and econ damage wasn't really delivered by Oxygen. They wanted to get at least a few kills on G2 there and weren't able to. Gun advantage now going to be in the hands of Oxygen. They're able to full buy here. Excluding Mitch, going to have to sacrifice and get the Bulldog. Never mind, he's able to find the funds and gets that Vandal. So, a full buy from Oxygen, and now it's going to be a difficult push here for... Or sorry, it's going to be a difficult push here for G2. Got a counterplay, a full buy from Oxygen. If there's a team that can do it on split, it's definitely G2. Pony gets spotted in vent, hit by that dog. He's just going to back up. Looks like G2 may just be challenging this vent. Where Oxy's looking, but he may just back up. G2 is mostly pushing into mid here. Oxygen now running over towards B. Verno able to get a nice pick on Oxy and a weird wall hit. Penny going to take Verno out, and then Shazam going to take Scuba out. So they have cleared B site, and they have the player advantage. So it's a 4v3. Retake for Oxygen. Now, already G2's done a good job of doing econ damage. When you're down on guns, that's what you're looking to do. Get as many kills as possible. And G2 has been able to do it. Regardless of if they win, if they win, they already did some good econ damage this round. And I've started to prevent Oxygen's hope of maybe making a comeback here. Penny going to take out Randy Savage. Pony going to be able to get a pick on Penny, but shut down by Whippy, and then Dapper going to take Mitch out, and that round goes to G2. No surprises there. And now the guns are going to be in the hands of G2, the money in the hands of G2. Oxygen down quite a few rounds. Hasn't been able to find a single one yet, and their econ's not in a place to allow them to get one. G2 looking very good here. They did not perform as well as they would want to on Haven, but we're like, I don't care, we can play well on Split, and they are trying to prove it. They've been able to so far.
But a lot leading up to that. I think Verno was hoping to get a bit more, and unfortunately doesn't. Now Dapper
Gets that Kim out, doesn't actually find any vision. Does know that two are there though, as they both shot at the camera, and decides to just back up off of that. Penny trying to clear B side, able to get that pick on Randy Savage. Now the push into B is very easy. Penny can also take out Pony Heaven, and now it's a 5v3. Oxygen in a 3v5. It's going to be a difficult situation. The long flank from Mitch isn't going to get spotted by a Cypher Trip or anything like that. So we may be able to find some picks there. Verno going to take Shazam out, but it's just going to be Rez. Ooh, Mitch and Dapper meet each other, but it's a Vandal versus a Frenzy, and of course Dapper's going to win that fight. Now it's a 5v2.
At this point, Oxygen, Verno and Scuba are just hoping to not be an alt-orb here in this.
Scuba going to take Oxy out, and now it's a 2v4. They've denied the flawless round, although it was already denied earlier, but Penny's going to take Verno out. There's not a whole lot of time. Whippy going to finish Scuba off. That round goes to G2. They're 2 rounds away from a win. They're 1 round away from securing 12 rounds and preventing a possible reverse sweep from Oxygen. Still no rounds won for Oxygen in this half. Now they've got a little bit of room to breathe. They won on Haven, so they don't have to win this map. But they would still like to do well on it and prove to G2 that they are better than they were previously, but it seems even with the change in agents and their team comp, it isn't enough to give Oxygen good rounds here. Still proving not to be the strongest team on Split, especially against G2. Timeout taken by Oxygen. We'll see if it's useful, though their timeout last half was not the most useful thing. I don't know if it's going to be super useful this half either. Although, I'm sort of lying to myself. Their timeout was pretty useful last half. They were able to make it 5-7 off of that timeout, which kept it kind of close. But hasn't proved to mean anything. That gap has not been bridged at all by Oxygen, and it's only been grown wider by G2. We'll see if this timeout is useful. Full buy for Oxygen, and we see that Operator come out on Pony. Defensive Operator on Raze. We'll see if he's able to push out aggressively in Garage and get a pick with it. Or if he's just going to whiff immediately and get taken out. We'll see. It's a full buy from both sides, but of course, the Econ is really good for G2 here. So Oxygen is looking for a win in order to get some good stable Econ. Now that Raze Operator, or that Operator that's on Raze, isn't going to find anybody as no B Garage push is pushed. G2 is now pushing through mid.
The freedom that Dapper's been given.
Yeah, absolutely. Is not only that, but the fact that they're playing with these 2 Sentinels.
Now they're backing up, going through sewers, and it looks like G2 is going to rotate over towards A. Now both Sentinels for Oxygen are on A. So it's going to be a difficult push. Now we did see this exact 2 Sentinels set up on A on the previous swap, for G2 was on defense. And I believe they took that round, so we'll see if it's useful for Oxygen here. The slow orb is going to prevent an easy push, and just before he touches that trap wire, they back up off of main. That denies good vision for Oxygen. Now they're getting through. Oxy able to just satchel over and into the smoke. Oxy also going to find that pick on Randy Savage, get his ultimate out, take Verno out. Now it's a 3v5 for Oxygen. Scuba going to find Oxy, and now it's a 4v3. The spike is down. Shazam going to take Scuba out. Now Mitch trying to push Heaven. And it looks like Oxygen may just want to go for a save here. That is what they're going for. You know G2 wants to deny it, though. They don't know the operators on Pony, but they would like to deny as many players alive as possible. Gonna take Mitch out, uses the neural theft to figure out where Oxy is. Now they know he has an operator.
Stay safe, keep these operator, but everybody hunting for him.
Takes Penny out. He's gonna get pinched here. Not gonna be able to find that quick scope. Able to find it on Dapper, though. He's trying to get out of there. G2's really trying to push him here and get rid of that operator that he has. Whippy with the pistol gonna be able to take Pony out. I mean, Oxygen made it expensive for G2, but G2's econ way too solid for it to matter. And now Oxygen gonna have to force every single round that they play after this. And of course, G2 would like to make it a flawless second half for Oxygen. Or sorry, for themselves, not for Oxygen. But they would like to prevent any round win for Oxygen. Oxygen, again, has to force here. It's the last round, no matter, you know, if Oxygen loses, it's the last round. So there's no saves, none of that. They just gotta force. And they're trying to. G2 coming in for a B push, and there's 3 on B Heaven for Oxygen. Dapper gonna take Randy Savage out all the way over on A, and now they know there's at least 1 on A, but it is the Cypher, and they know he likes to lurk, so shouldn't give them a whole lot of confidence to rotate, but that's what's happening. Oxygen is rotating, and that's just gonna give G2 a free passage. Dapper looking for another pick, not gonna find it. Scuba gonna take him out. It's a 4v4, but confidence placed in Oxygen is putting most of them over on A, 3 of them, and only 1 over on B. The res goes off for Verno, gets Randy Savage up, and now they're rotating over to B where they hear that spike getting planted. The neural theft comes out as well, and that gives some good vision. They know where Oxy is. They're trying to hunt him down in Heaven. He's running over to Rafters. He knows where people might be. It's a little bit chaotic. Oxy, though, going to take out Pony and Randy Savage before Scuba shuts him down. And then Penny going to take out Mitch and Verno. It's 3v1. Scuba's all alone. He has to fight this. Penny going to take him out. Split goes to G2, and it was not well fought at all from Oxygen in that second half. They kept it close in the first half. Going into the second half was 7-5. But Oxygen could not get a single round in that second half. And ends 13-5 for G2. Well played there from G2, and now we're going to the decider. It's going to be on Lotus. A little bit disheartened. I mean, Oxygen must be a little bit disheartened off of such a horrible performance, and we'll see if it doesn't matter, and their mental will be able to reset as they go into Lotus, or if it's going to pull through and G2's just going to be able to play better on Lotus. Now, these are 2 teams we've seen play on both Haven and Split before, but we have not seen them play each other yet on Lotus, and this is the new map, so it really could go either way. It's just a matter of which team practiced it more, and both teams let Lotus go through and let it be the decider. You know, G2 probably wasn't expecting it to go to the decider, but it did, and so could say that G2 is maybe not super happy with it being there. You know, obviously they didn't ban it, so they're okay with it, but they didn't pick it either, so you know they're not super confident in it. And they definitely don't know how confident Oxygen will be. And we'll go ahead and see that. Let's take a listen to what the commentators have to say. And it looks like they threw it to a break. Of course, as soon as I want to hear what they have to say, they throw it to a break. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the clips they have from that map. From that map. I don't have a whole lot to talk about. I'm running out of energy here. I am a little bit sick. And so I'm definitely losing some steam. Looks like there's only 1 clip from Split.
That the play's gonna hear.
And Oxy peeks out and gets more than he could have hoped for, so he backs away and will eventually start to pick up
new accessories and ship to its ultimate destination.
Oxy had a really good game. He definitely wanted to say, all right, you know what, Haven, I did not do very well at all, but hey, I'm here to be the duelist that's going to carry my team. And he pulled through. He really did pull through on that map. Like I said, I'm starting to run out of energy here. Let's see, what am I? What? Let's see, not a whole lot of nothing else. No other clips from, maybe from that final round. So it looks like we're just going to sit through some ads. Because, again, I am running out of energy just a little bit here. What is this? Sheets. What is Sheets? Let me look this up. Sheets. Oh, never mind. We're getting into it. Let's go.
G2, I mean, they looked pretty strong on Split last time around, so not too surprised to see that they were able to do that run back to make sure we can go over to Lotus. They looked, I mean, Oxygen, they definitely looked better than last time, but it's still G2 running away with that one.
I mean, objectively, they were one round better, so you're right. I mean, in that case, there was improvement. I mean, certainly, it's one of those things where, like, obviously it was a cold start, right? I mean, I think G2 was up 6-1 at one point. Just was really firing on all cylinders defensively. It seemed like Oxygen just weren't really able to crack the code. They wound up winning 4 of the last 5 rounds in the first half, and so it seemed like, okay, like, they were able to actually start getting some post plans and start converting. But once the second half hit, it just seemed like they just had no gas left in the tank. G2's attacking side was just so powerful, and this just adds to their collection, right? I mean, they have won every split game they've played now, and in every single game, they have had a fantastic attacking side, and that 5 rounds is the most rounds anyone's gotten against them on this map this year. Granted, one of those was also Oxygen, so to be fair, but still, like, it just continues to show that G2 certainly aren't a flash in the pan when it comes to split. They clearly have something figured out.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw Oxygen picked the attack side, I was cautious. I was questioning it, no doubt about it. Then I realized when I looked at the stats that G2 has a super strong attack side or super strong defense side and attack side. So it really did not matter at all where Oxygen started in that, honestly. From my perspective, the second half, as soon as that hit, G2 started off with a pistol round win, clean. Second round comes in, clean. Anti-bonus, super clean. And they just ran with that. And it seems like they were so much more confident. And I can usually tell when G2 is confident by the amount of BM that you can see in the server, right? As soon as you start seeing the tactical squats, as soon as you start seeing the body sprays, that's when you know G2 is confident. There was none of that on the first map. That's all I'll say. But on the second map, it was a massive difference. And of course, Oxy's a super important player to point out here because he absolutely bounced back after the first map.
He wasn't the only one to. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't the only one to bounce back either. I mean, Penny had a hell of a game. 280 ACS at 18 and 9 KD. Obviously, just did really well in the sky. Dapper doing his thing. I mean, Dapper and Cypher and Split, I mean, they just go together, man. It's just like this perfect little trio, you know what I mean? Going back a couple of years even. So, yeah, it's one of those things where they just stepped up to the plate this game. They certainly didn't let the last game face them. They kind of just had a mental reset, it seems. Someone had a reset technically in the first half. That being.
I mean, you can see like just the consistency for G2. Now they had really good consistency on Haven. It's just that they weren't playing super well overall. And consistency between player kills matters the most when your players are playing well. And Oxygen's player consistency wasn't even that good on Haven. It was just that Pony was able to pull through so hard for Oxygen versus now over on Split, you're starting to see that lack of like consistency between kills really matter. As when G2 starts getting a lot of kills, the rest of the team is following versus over on Haven, where Oxygen had like one player getting a lot of kills. The one behind him was like 4 kills behind. He was getting quite a few, and then it was like 3 kills behind. So it was not a whole lot of consistency between the player kills for Oxygen. It was just a matter of how good could Pony carry, and he really did. But then when we went over to Split, you did see that consistency matter as Pony stopped being able to pull through as hard and wasn't able to find that carry that he had been able to find on Haven. And we'll see if it matters here on Lotus.
We were able to create a lot of havoc early and maybe, either pivot into a B hit off of that or just go ahead and fully commit to A. They definitely, have a lot of options, right? Because this map has seen a lot of different compositions, whether it's double controller, double initiator, double duelist, sentinelist with a sentinel, with no duelist. Like, we've seen every combination, I feel like, at this point between lock-in and challengers and all the other regional leagues. So, like, the world is kind of your oyster on Lotus right now because no one really has, like, the golden comp that always wins. Certainly the comp that Oxygen uses, I think, is a good one. I think Breach is fantastic on this map. I'm surprised more teams don't use it. Oxygen did in their match against Turtle Troop. Though it was a loss, it was a very close one in OT, and they got a lot of attacking rounds. So, yeah, I'll be curious to see, how this plays out, if Oxygen stick with the same comp, if they change it up themselves, and what is G2 bringing to the table, right? I mean, obviously, it was kind of neat to see Guard bring Harbor to the table, something new. you know, what does G2 do? You know, that's going to be a cool thing to keep an eye on.
Yeah, especially since the discussion earlier is the fact that this hasn't been cracked yet. You know, there is no gold standard. There is no, hey, this is exactly what we should be expecting. So I'm really intrigued then with G2 keeping this a mystery up until now, how that's going to be faring. I mean, we got to see the Harbor earlier. We already know a little bit of what Oxygen likes to do. Roy, do you think any chance the Harbor is the pick that we maybe, you know, from G2's end, considering Harbor, Lotus made for each other?
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like this is not based in fact or reality whatsoever, but I feel like Imi's a Harbor hater, and I don't think he would allow them to play the Harbor. So I'm not expecting to see the Harbor. What I'm in my mind, what I'm expecting to see is I'm seeing two different paths here. Either they lean into the Sentinel double controller, or they go into the double duelist. I don't think we're gonna see the breach, to be honest. And if we do see it, it will be probably the double initiator raise comp. But I think we're going to probably most likely see some variant of the double duelist with Neon and Raze or Neon Jet on this map.
I think what's going to be most important is like what agent do you put Penny on, right? Because I feel like he's kind of been, I don't want to say at a loss of identity, but I mean he definitely has flex between like double duelist alongside Oxy, or playing some Sage, or playing some initiators, and I feel like he's kind of been all over the place, and I feel like he's kind of struggled with that in my opinion, which isn't necessarily his fault. I think maybe he's just like, you know, doing the best that he can to try to facilitate everyone else on the team. So I'm curious, like, what kind of role do you give him on a map like this, right? Do you let him have a little bit more freedom? Do you, you know, like with another duelist, or is he going to play an initiator? You know, I don't really see, I mean, Sage maybe, but it just doesn't seem like he really, I just don't see where it would come in to play there.
I'm not seeing the Sage.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I'm just kind of, that's actually my biggest curiosity.
Well, we're not going to have to wait too much longer to find out as our agent's like, is it ready and time to send it over to our casters for game number 3.
What does Penny do, Dryad? Dryad, what does Penny do?
You're telling me we're not gonna see the Sage that Paper X did in Lock-In, where it's just some crazy plays on top of the wall? You're telling me we're not gonna see that from, I don't know.
I don't see why not. I don't know why the desk also has to take that from us. Give us a Sage, Penny. Give us a Sage. I do think that coming into this, G2 is a huge question mark. And I mean all of Challengers as a whole. G2 is a huge question mark with a couple of strong players from a couple of different teams. Then you slap Oxy in here. Then when you look at it, you're kind of breaking down roles and seeing how people are getting slotted in. And the thing that stood out to me the most was Penny and Oxy, right? Oxy, a very young, cracked duelist player. Penny also pretty highly regarded as one of the better Jets at one point in time when he was playing for version 1. And it seems that that identity crisis is starting to bite them in the butt a little bit. Fortunately, it looked pretty good. Can play the Sage, flexes that one well. But when we get out to a map like Lotus, I think there definitely is a world where if you're not putting Penny on the Sage, you do slap him on a duelist right next to Oxy.
That's what I want to see, honestly. I feel like when we got to see this double duelist comp from G2, it just looks so good, so coordinated, and it is one of those compositions that you don't run from just anybody. I think Sierra mentioned it. There's no gold standard when it comes to this map on that specific composition that is going to play out, and everybody's
that's one
running
thing I
it.
do like about Lotus. As much as I hate the map, I still very much dislike the map. One thing I do like is because there's no like this is how you're supposed to play it. We see so much difference or so many differences in the way that teams decide to play on Lotus, which I really, really like. I like seeing really, really big differences between the way that the players are playing and the way that the team comps work out.
Sounds like something medical related is happening with one of the players, so it does seem that we are going to be having an extended break here for this one. So we're going to hop away, we're going to save our thoughts, and we're going to be hopefully bringing you resolutions or a map 3 after a quick break.
What? Oh shit. Yo, what? Okay, alright. If they say anything on Twitter, let me see if I can follow it up. G2. They haven't said anything about Oxygen. Yeah, nothing. Well, hopefully everything's okay. Hopefully everybody's fine. It's interesting. I've never heard of a player injury in there. Never heard of a player injury in esports. Why is TikTok trending? Oh. Oh, it's just random stuff. Yeah, I don't really know what to talk about, and I feel like the more I talk, the longer I'm just gonna be stalling. So I'm gonna play some music, and we'll be back when the next game begins, I suppose. You're back, I guess.
To get the players situated, but
Alright, it looks like we're back.
See it happen. G2, their first time here on Lotus.
Alright, everybody seems to be fine. Hopefully everything's good. Whatever it was, got worked out. I'm glad to see everybody's playing. Alright, so Oxy on Raze, Randy Savage on Killjoy, Dapper on Killjoy. Turn this down just a little bit. Down to there. Alright, Oxy on Raze, Randy Savage on Killjoy, Dapper on Killjoy, Verno on Sova, Shazam on Omen, Scuba also on Omen, Pony on Raze, Penny on Sky, Mitch on Breach, and Whippy on Viper. Alright. It looks like it's going to be double initiator for Oxygen and a double controller for G2. Both teams have a Killjoy as their sentinel. Both teams have a Raze as their duelist. The difference is being, of course, yeah, like I said, the double initiator for Oxygen and the double controller for G2. Now, double controller is very common on especially 3-site maps. It's a good idea, but especially on Lotus, because of how big the map is and how hard it is to rotate for the defense, having a controller that can sort of play either you want an Omen that or an Asher that can send far off smokes from wherever they are, or you get two controllers to help lock down sites that they're close to relatively easily, and that's what we're seeing from G2. But the double initiator from Oxygen is also good, so that way when you're on that defense, you can try and gain back some of that advantage as well, being able to get some good vision on both sides. But it's also very helpful when you're playing offense. Pony and Mitch each able to get their kills. Oxy takes Verno out, but Pony going to take Oxy out. So now it's a 2v4. Already not looking good for G2 at the start of this round. And G2's on B, both of their players on B, as they did hear that door open. Now they're rotating over to C. And Oxygen just going to be able to get on site. There's no util that's going to stop them, so they can just get on the site and plant. And Pistols can't wallbang, so he's just going to be able to get that plant down. And now it's down to Dapper and Whippy trying to play this out here. You see Dapper. Scuba going to finish Dapper off. You know where Whippy is as well. Concussion comes out. Whippy's going to be able to back up. In a 1v4, there's not a whole lot you can do, especially with just a classic. And, he's going to peek Scuba first, able to find him, but going to get double swinged from both behind and in front. Pony going to take him out. 3 kills for Pony. 3 players left alive for Oxygen as well. Going to make it a pretty good pistol round. And now they're going to be able to force, should be able to secure this round. Now, one thing we do see a lot on Lotus, one thing we see a lot on Lotus is that team that loses the pistol round forces. And I think I've only ever seen it work out on Lotus one time, where that force pays off and denies a good bonus for Oxygen, or sorry, for the team that wins the pistol round. But yeah, I said that's rare, and I've seen it a few times, and it doesn't usually pay off, and G2 decides not to do that here. But Oxygen will have better guns this round. Although Randy Savage and Scuba both going to save just in case it's a force from G2, which it isn't. So they should be okay here. Oxygen should be secure. They're playing pretty passively, hoping G2 will push them aggressively, so they can maybe get some picks. G2 is expecting, it looks like a B or an A push, so they've rotated entirely off of C, and there's no util on C either. Which means G2, I don't know if they hear that drone, but they do have to know that Oxygen isn't going to be pushing, maybe where they're expecting that Omen Smoke comes out to ward off C. G2 not coming in for the flank, and Oxy actually makes his presence known, but Oxygen does not know how many are coming in for the flank, so they only have Verno watching it. He gets flashed, but he's not going to get hit by it. Verno able to take out Oxy and Penny. That door's open, and Oxygen has to counterplay it. Verno also going to be able to take out Shazam. Meanwhile, Mitch takes out Dapper. Whippy also coming in for a flank. Verno's going to shut down any hope of a flank for G2, getting a total of 4 kills. No kills given, which means Oxygen's Econ is in a pretty good spot now, and those that saved now going to be able to force or at least light by are going to try and take bonus here. Of course, G2 with full buys are just going to try and well, take out as many of Oxygen as they can and try to secure a win. They do have better guns here, so they should be able to. Oxygen, of course, with better guns, going to try and do good damage to G2, who is forcing. Oxygen just going to try and get some good kills. We see them by a little bit. There's a Phantom and a Vandal for Oxygen. We'll see if those matter. As Oxygen is pushing pretty aggressively, as Oxygen is pushing pretty aggressively into C. Dapper's going to try and shut it down, able to get a kill there, but just going to have to back off in a 1v4. There's not a whole lot you can do. They back up. Shazam going to be able to take out Scuba and Randy Savage, and now this retake is looking pretty easy for them. A flash comes out, and it's going to be useful. Verno able to take out Whippy. Shazam going to take out Verno, though, in a trade, and then Oxy going to finish off Oxygen by taking out Mitch. So no good econ damage done by Oxygen, but of course they're going to be able to buy this round, and their econ's looking pretty stable, so it's not going to be a huge issue. And they should just be able to full buy this round. They were able to get 1 kill in G2, so they did okay econ damage. Now there's not going to be able to be a complete full buy from G2 versus Oxygen, who, again, like I said, has a very solid econ, going to be able to full buy this round. And we do see Verno still with 2,900 credits. Going to have some good stable econ for the next few rounds, most likely. Or at least this round, and then probably next round as well, Verno will. But the rest of Oxygen, not so much, so they want to win this round. G2 also looking to win this round. First of all, to deny Oxygen good econ stability, but also just to tie it back up and give themselves a good stable econ. And Oxygen doing a little bit of a split push, putting 2 over on A and 3 over on B.
Like I said, not too much to worry about when he's at 3rd round.
Just looking for some early engagement. And Oxygen doesn't really find that on B, and it looks like they're going to grab that spike and actually take it over to B. They are gonna try and aggress that. Now there's only a Killjoy Nano Swarm on B. Now that Alarm Bot goes off, or goes down, I should say. Owl comes through, gonna spot 2. They know 2 are linked, and so they send that grenade back there. They know that they need to clear it. Some good util as well to try and force them out. Able to get 2 kills, Pony, and then gets a third as Oxy's trying to push Link, and he's ready for the potential that another comes through. Penny does, and his crosshair is perfectly lined up. Meanwhile, Randy Savage shakes out Whippy. It's a flawless round from Oxygen. Both teams full by that round, so both teams wanted to win. And a flawless round is almost certainly not what G2 wanted. And that's what Oxygen got. They got a they got a flawless round. And that's going to put their econ in a really, really good spot. I mean, just look at Verno, 6,200. That was a very good aggressive push there from Pony into B-Link, and it paid off. Able to deny anybody who wanted to sit in B-Link or even try and push onto B through B-Link. Pony denied every single hope G2 had. Now G2 going to be on a save here. And Oxygen, of course, just going to play as well as they can. Now, like I said, this is an offense-sided map, and it's proved to be a pretty offense-sided map. So Oxygen doing so well on offense isn't necessarily a bad thing. G2 shouldn't be hoping to get the advantage on defense, but they should just be trying to deny as much of an advantage as possible for Oxygen. And it's looking like Oxygen is going to, already off the bat, going to be in a pretty stable spot. So we'll see if that continues to be the case, or if G2 will take back the advantage. Or if G2 will try and deny their advantage. Sorry, sometimes I go into autopilot and stop paying attention to what I'm saying. Looks like Oxygen's going to be pushing this A. We've got 3 coming through door, 2 going through A main. Nobody stairs or any that are smoked off. Randy Savage going to be able to take out Oxy. Penny also on site, going to get taken out by Pony. Randy Savage going to take out Dapper. The first kill goes to Whippy for G2. Also takes out Pony. Well played there from G2. Is going to deny a flawless round and make it a 2v3. G2 could actually get a few more kills here. I mean, Shazam has been able to pick up a gun. They know where Whippy is now, though. They also know where Shazam is. Off of that paranoia, Shazam going to be able to take out Mitch and Verno. Verno able to take out Whippy before he dies, and now it's just Scuba versus Shazam. The omens against each other, and Scuba wins that encounter. Not great there from Oxygen. Again, that was a save run from G2, and they did pretty well. And they did quite a bit of good econ damage to Oxygen, although Oxygen has a very solid and stable econ, so it's not going to damage their econ too much. Obviously, you know, another round like that and their econ's not in a great spot, but it is going to help G2 get a little bit of an edge. Plus, it boosts their own econ to get that many kills. Now we're going to see a full buy from G2, and we see the Operator come out on Oxy. We'll see if it pays off. He's going to use that Operator along C, and it's not going to find any good picks. None of Oxygen are there, and Oxygen's actually looking at an A. They may decide they want to go for B-Link. There are 2 coming in. They're able to spot Shazam and do quite a bit of good damage on that jump spot. Now, that Showstopper is in the hands of Pony if he wants to use it. And then that ultimate comes out, that Rolling Thunder comes out from Mitch to clear sight. Shazam going to be able to take out Scuba. Verno takes out Dapper, but Penny takes out Pony, and their push onto A has been denied, so now it's a 4v3. Oxygen also very low on health, so G2 is looking a little bit good here so far in this round. Now, Oxy has that Operator, and Randy Savage might peek it. He is going to peek it. Doesn't do any damage, and Oxy's going to just be able to do that op shot. Take him out. Now, Oxygen deciding to push B still. Do you know where an Operator is? Spike in the hands of Mitch. There's 40 seconds. They've got a lot of time to move around, and it looks like they want to clear CT before they go for the plant. I want to try and even those numbers, but Whippy is going to deny that hope, taking out Mitch. Now it's a Verno versus Mitch. Or sorry, Verno versus Whippy. Verno's going to take Whippy out. So now it's a 3v1 instead of a 1v4 for Verno. He's down quite a bit of health. Is he going to win this against Shazam? No, Shazam only has his classic out, but it doesn't matter. Able to find that kill. That round goes to G2. A good round from them. 3 players left alive, although they did full buy that round. It was a little bit of a force, and they did lose quite a few of their players. 2 with quite a few, so now those players not going to be able to full buy. You're going to have to sacrifice some util.
Absolutely.
to find it,
in so many rounds before
which is
perform
what
on
we
top.
see
And this is
happen.
something that we saw
Oxy
from
does still have that
Split.
operator, so
There
he's
were
able to
just
buy one of
matches
his
where
teammates.
Shazam was
So they all
dominating
have
and was
guns,
getting the
just
kills.
Oxy doesn't have
Absolute
shield,
Love,
and
of
some,
course, is always
again,
taking
some of
that
that
IGL
util has
role
been
and
sacrificed.
making
Versus
every
Oxygen,
game
who
every
has
single wave
had a
count.
pretty stable econ, still going to be able to full buy this round. Not all of them going to have full shield.
Tie the score here
So a
on
little bit of a similar
Lotus
situation to G2.
to try to take the lead against Oxygen.
Ooh, and that Owl is going to give some good vision to Verno, who is able to use that Hunter Fury to actually hit two, both Oxy and Penny.
Seemed like a whole lot of urgency there from Oxy as he got tagged by the drone, and
But Oxy just gets out of there, and he's not going to get taken out by the Hunter's Fury. And that lockdown over on C is going to come out. It's going to force G2 back. Whippy going to wait until the very last second and put that Viper Molly down. There he goes. Now he's trying to get out of that Killjoy lockdown. The concussions come out, and now Oxygen going to push onto site. They get rid of that Killjoy util. They may be going through water? No, just looking for a pick, probably. Pony going to find it on Oxy. There goes that operator. And you know Pony wants to pick it up. Meanwhile, Dapper's able to take out Scoob, but the spike goes down. Pony's push up pretty aggressively, and G2 is ready for it. Verno was able to take out Whippy, but Shazam and Penny going to make it down to just Mitch alone to defend the spike. Able to find Dapper. Dapper's not looking at him, but Mitch just whiffs. And that kill goes to Dapper, and the round goes to G2. And like I said, it's an offense-sided map, so Oxygen should be hoping for quite a few rounds here. But G2 is making sure that Oxygen doesn't get quite a few rounds here. Makes it and it's going to make it as easy as possible for G2 when they switch sides to you know, get the advantage and get that win. And now it's going to have to be a save run from Oxygen, which means that the econ not going to look great for them. Or it looks like Oxygen may want to force. Oxygen going to take a timeout. Not a bad choice. They've lost 2 rounds in a row. They won the first 2. G2 won a round. And then Oxygen won 2 rounds in a row, putting them pretty far in the lead. But now G2 has won 2 rounds in a row. And Oxygen going to be in poor econ now. So taking a timeout here is not the worst idea, even though they are ahead, just to make sure they can maintain this advantage. Again, it's an offense-sided map, so of course Oxygen wants to be taking the advantage in this first half. Now, not to say if it switches sides they won't be able to play well defensively, it's just that it'll be much, much harder, especially on a map like Lotus. Now, people are saying Lotus is offense-sided because of the 3 sites, and that's true, but Haven's not super offense-sided, and it has 3 sites. What makes Lotus so offense-sided is because it's difficult for the defense to rotate effectively between the sites, and it's also fairly easy for the offense to rotate between the sites, both when they're far pushed up. I mean, just look at A, you could push up and come through B-Link onto B, or if you're pushed up into B main, you can open the door and go over to C. So even when you're far pushed up into the main entrances of the site, you're able to pretty quickly just rotate over to the other side, which is why Lotus is so offense-sided. And it makes it difficult for defense, but G2 has been able to lock it down pretty easily. Oxy going to come out with this operator looking for a pick, not going to be able to find it. He gets concussed and is going to have to play back. Now that Sova Arrow really good at getting some good vision as to where Oxy may have gone. Now Oxygen's going to push up a little bit, but it's actually Pony going to push up and try and get a good fake here on C while the rest of Oxygen is pushing towards A. Now, there was a Viper's Pit ultimate. Oxy able to take down Pony, and they actually realize it's probably a fake and start backing up. Dapper able to take out Randy Savage, and what is Oxygen doing? The timeout does not seem to be helpful. The lockdown's been taken out. Well played there from Oxygen, and now they're just going to be able to get onto the site. Defender lockdown not going to be utilized well. Scuba going to just push through that smoke, able to take out Oxy. Shazam finally shuts him down. And of course, Oxygen's not looking for trades when you're down this many players. Mitch does not have a good gun, and Verno's not really near the site to help defend it very well. Verno able to take out Penny and Shazam as I speak about not being able to defend it very well. And Mitch just holding on top of the spike in his smoke, able to take out Dapper. Whippy takes Mitch out, and now it's 1v1 between Verno and Whippy, and he's sticking it. What is Verno doing? And Whippy just holds the spike. Pros don't fake. Whippy trying to prove that. Just sticks the spike. I mean, I know there's a, you know, obviously Verno was probably expecting him to not stick it, but that's not really an excuse. You at least gotta try and see the vision, but isn't able to, and that round's just gonna go to G2, and now they've tied it up off of a timeout. It looked like Oxygen may have been able to take it back in a 2v4 clutch, and he fumbles it right at the end there for Oxygen. The round goes to G2. G2 looking good now. Oxy's got that operator back in his hands, and he's going to use that showstopper as soon as he gets some good vision. And then sends it through. Not going to find anyone, though. Does a little bit of damage to Whippy and... Or sorry, does a little bit of damage to Mitch. But not nearly enough for it to matter. And Oxygen now just going to go back and re-hit B, looks like. At least 3 of them are B main, but they may just go through door. The spike is on that C mound, and they're flashing into B and pushing in, so it may just be a B push. The Paranoia comes out from Shazam, and it's effective, as well as an alarm bot, which is also effective. Shazam takes out Pony, but Scuba takes out Dapper, so it's still a 4v4. Penny looking to aggress Mitch here, and is able to do so. Now, Whippy has been undetected, holding behind that box, which means... Yep. Falsely placed confidence is going to lead Randy Savage to think nobody's there, able to get that kill, but Scuba going to take Penny out. Verno also going to take Whippy out, so it's a 2v2 now. Down to Scuba and Shazam, both Omens with low health. That plant is going off, and they're hiding behind the wall, so that way a wallbang can't happen. Shazam still tries to, though. Sova Arrow comes out. It's not going to really detect anyone. It's destroyed by Oxy, as it would detect somebody, and Oxy tries to push while Shazam, they're trying to hold each other's crosses and can't do it. They both get taken out. 4K for Scuba, down to 6 health, but it doesn't matter. Oxygen's going to take that round. Now, regardless of if Oxygen takes the rest of the rounds in this half, it's still been a pretty good half for G2, because, again, offense-sided map. And so they're doing really, really well for their defense, keeping it pretty close. This is definitely not what Oxygen wants to do when you're on the offense of this map. You want to be dominating. You want to be, especially when you're on offense first, you want to be going, you know, getting to, you know, 12-0, obviously. But honestly, what you're shooting for is a 10-2, 9-3. Those are really good numbers to potentially secure a win when you switch to defense, and they haven't been able to do that. At the very least, you do secured a 4-8, which is kind of easy to come back from when you're on the offense, on an offense-sided map. But they also have kept it close enough to secure, you know, they could be looking at, you know, a 5-7, a 6-6, keeping it tied, which would be really bad for Oxygen, but we'll see how it goes. Pony looking for some early engagement over on A, gonna start some early aggression. Now, he doesn't really have a gun, so he's just trying to play aggressively, and it pays off, able to take out both Penny and Oxy. Over on B-Link, Verno gonna take out Shazam and Dapper once again. Verno locking down B-Link. Now it's a 1v4 for Whippy. Now, it's a little bit of a save round from them, just trying to do some damage. Scuba gonna take Whippy out. Now, again, Pony did not have a good gun that round, so able to find that win is good for him, and they've secured that 6th round, so G2 will not be able to take the advantage going to the next half, but again, it was a save round, and also offense-sided map. G2's not expected to take the advantage going to the next half. They're just trying their best to keep it even. And now they're going to be on a full buy. Oxygen also on a full buy, and they're just saving the guns they had from last round, so once again, Pony doesn't have a good gun. There's the Hunter's Fury in the hands of Verno. Of course, Shazam has the Omen ultimate, which could help, and that's probably why he's going to push out aggressively and see with these other players, looking for some early engagement in case that's where Oxygen goes, but knowing that that's not where they go, he may just decide to teleport over to A. Oxygen now looking at B, maybe A. They're definitely going back and forth, whether or not they want to go to either side.
So they can absolutely do it again against
There's only one on A for G2, but it's Killjoy locking it down with the util. The bot's going to go through to B-Link for Pony, and it's going to get broken by his teammates. And bot's going to go through, not find anybody, but there are 2 on B now for G2, and it looks like that's where Oxygen's going to be headed. The Breach ultimate comes out, and that was able to get up from Mitch. And that Hunter's Fury comes out, able to find Penny. Does some damage there. Savage inside of that smoke, looking for somebody to push through and find that pick, but it doesn't. No, nobody does, I mean. Penny going to be able to take out Mitch, and this retake is starting, and it's looking good as Whippy finds a pick as well. Scuba going to take out Dapper, though. Whippy going to find Pony, though. The Paranoia comes through, and Whippy's going to be able to take out Scuba. Verno was looking to do some shock dart post-plant. Isn't going to be able to, and this round's going to go to G2, and at the very least, they've secured 5-7. That is very easy when you switch to offense to come back from. And they could be looking at keeping it 6-6 if they can win this next round, although Oxygen played their econ well. So now they're going to be able to full buy this round and should be able to secure this round. We look at G2. Whippy has that Viper's Pit. Now, defensively, Viper's Pit is hard to use, but he'll probably just go out and use it B main to deny a B main a B main push. Although he's actually running over to C, so he may use it C unless he was just thinking about it or getting some setup. No, it looks like he is just gonna go use it on C main. Probably a good choice. Keep them off of there and force them onto C or B. Maybe just waiting for some engagement. He finds it. Is he gonna ult now? Yeah, it looks like he's thinking about it. And now he goes for that Viper's Pit ultimate on C. Does Oxygen fight it, or do they back up? Looks like they may choose to fight it, or maybe take door over to B. We'll see. Now, it's both Dapper and Whippy in the Viper's Pit to help lock it down. The drone comes through, gets some vision. The Molly, with the Nano Swarm and the Viper's Poison. Now, Oxygen comes through into B. Like I said, they did decide to take that door. The Showstopper comes out, and it's actually going to help push G2 off and buy them time to get on site and plant. Now, Whippy's still over on C with that Viper's Pit. He's just going to come off of it now. Oxy coming in through B Link, and Pony trying to deny it. Playing a little bit aggressively, looking for a pick. And he's going to find it on Oxy, who is trying to push through B Link. Not going to find anybody else, though. Although Pony is definitely searching. Not going to find anybody. Going all the way through to the attack side at spawn. Not going to find anyone. 4 on B. Dapper and Penny each going to get a kill. And now it's a 4v3. G2's gain the player advantage. Dapper able to find a pick. Scuba going to take out Penny, but it's traded off. Now it's down to Pony. They think he's B Link, but he's not. The grenade comes out to try and deny the defuse, but it's going to get off right before Whippy dies. And that's going to make it tied going into the next half. And it's an offense-sided map. Not good for Oxygen so far. They definitely, you know, again, on an offense-sided map, when you're on offense, you want to take the advantage going into the next half. And Oxygen wasn't able to do that, which means now G2 going to have a little bit of an easy road here. And should be able to take... Should be able to take the advantage here. Now, the nice thing about these first few series happening in the first start of the upper bracket is anybody who loses isn't worried about being eliminated and not earning points. Obviously, tomorrow that's when we start seeing teams worried about it. But the nice thing is Oxygen and G2 aren't fighting for you know, you know, being, sorry, I can't talk right now. They're not fighting for staying safe going in to the rest of mid-season. They're just fighting to stay in the upper bracket, which makes it easy. So if they do end up in the lower bracket, they're in a higher position, which gives them a little bit of an edge. And that's what they're fighting for. So they're not, like, putting their spot in mid-season on the line right now. Speaking of, though, Oxy's just going to be able to push right through Waterfall and get a pick, though Randy Savage and Verno going to be able to deny a good take from G2. Dapper going to get a pick, but Scuba going to take him out, and now it's just down to Shazam. Well played there from Verno to help give Oxygen this defensive edge. Now Shazam's able to pick up that spike. Now he's going to run it over to C. The smoke comes out over on C as well. And now the plant's happening, and Oxygen now going to move towards this retake in a 1v3. All three coming from water. Is Shazam going to be able to take out Scuba, though? Not going to find any more, as Randy Savage takes Shazam out, denying him a hope of a comeback there in a 1v3. And now, his first round goes to Oxygen. I mean, G2 was able to tie it up going into this half, so maybe Oxygen can play a good enough defense to keep it even as we move forward. Now, because G2's on offense, they may just want to force here. even though they lost the pistol round, because they're on offense, they again, they have the option to force, and it might work out for them on this round. We'll see if that's what they decide to do. It doesn't look like it. And again, we've seen teams on Lotus decide to force on that second round, even if they lost the pistol round. And G2 could have, but decides not to, and it's probably safe, you know, better safe than sorry, so that way you can full buy on that third round. Because if you do lose that force, which you've seen quite a few teams do, then your econ's not great for the rest, or for at least the first quite a few rounds. Pony gonna push up pretty aggressively with the Judge to look for some easy picks, able to find it on Penny and Oxy. Now it's a 3v4, down a player. Whippy was able to trade it off, but we already lost 2. Now it's a 3v4. Oxygen has the player advantage, but G2, when they're down this many, you know, on guns and stuff, what they're looking for is to do good econ damage, which they've been able to do. I mean, they already got 1 player, so that's helpful there. But it is, of course, the Duelists, and that's the one you're expecting to lose. Scuba going to be able to take out Shazam without taking any damage over on C, get some vision there. Now, Whippy's running all the way over to A, maybe just looking for an early pick or to bait out Oxygen and force them over to A. But the spike is on Dapper, and it's running over to C. Now, when it's just your Sentinel and your controller left alive, it's a little bit difficult to figure out how you want to play it. I think Whippy is just looking to use or alert this Killjoy util, which you can see it's working as Oxygen is now walking over to A, and it's just going to be Scuba left alone on C.
The buy that Oxygen has is good, not only for this round, but for the next one if they're able to all stay alive.
Randy Savage with the Judge just going to hold tree, locks it down, gets that pick, and now it's just a 1v4 for Dapper. He's running out of time. He has to plant, and Scuba's there to lock it down. And now Swarm comes out, though, and the concussion comes out as well. He's going to get that plant down for some extra money. But, yeah, the util goes out. He's able to take Scuba first, though. Mitch takes him out, though, denying any hope of a you know, a 1v4. But 2 players down for Oxygen is good for G2. Able to do some good econ damage. As Oxygen, of course, forced that round. And so they were looking for a flawless round, deny as much econ damage for G2 as possible. But G2 was able to take out 2, which means this round will be easy for them to win. We're going to full buy here. Oxygen now looking to do econ damage. We see Randy Savage pick up a Sheriff, and we see Pony pick up a Frenzy. Just trying to put guns in hands to do some good damage. Give them as much of an edge as possible. And actually, we see that Bulldog get passed over to Pony. We'll see if they're able to find some kills with it. Scuba pushing up aggressively on this defense. And I think that's really the strategy when you're playing defense on Lotus, is to play aggressive. Because you need to punish teams when they do go one site and help prevent them from using that fast rotate to their advantage. Speaking of, though, Pony gets flashed and gets quite a bit of damage dealt to him. Though Verno going to be able to take out Penny. And off of that pick, it may just be the Q Oxygen needs back up. That's what I'm talking about. When you're on defense on Lotus, playing aggressive allows you to punish teams when they're pushing you. Which means you can get an easy pick on them, which makes it hard for them to, you know, a pick or 2, which makes it hard now for them to, first of all, rotate easily, because now they're down players, so they don't have as many players to lurk with. But at the same time, it gives you the player advantage, and also, if they can't push up easily into the site, it makes it hard for them to rotate to other sites. Because again, it's easy and quick for you to rotate on offense if you're pushed up pretty aggressively through the main entrances. Scuba takes out Oxy. Now, Whippy's coming for a really long flank, but Scuba's ready for it. Not going to cash in, though. Dapper able to take out Pony and Mitch, and now it's just down to Verno. Taps that spike, and he's actually going to be able to get it half. Oh, he doesn't. He gets off of it. He could have gotten it half. It doesn't matter, because Dapper took him out, and that round goes to G2. Now, a round they should have won. They did, but not before Oxygen took out quite a few of their players, which put them in a pretty bad, which is putting them now. They're going to be in a pretty bad spot economy-wise. Not going to be able to full buy this round. Going to have to sacrifice util or force, which is what we see, is some util sacrificed. And now Oxygen going to be able to full buy. That was a bonus round for them. But, you know, if G2 can take out a good amount of their players, Oxygen's not going to be in a good place. And, you know, that's pretty much how it goes. Back and forth like that. Mitch with the Odin trying to lock down C. Sends that concuss out, try and deny the push as the smokes came out. As the smokes came out. And the push is denied pretty effectively. But they weren't really trying to push C either there. Spike's over near A. There's 3 for Oxygen on B, ready to rotate to either C or A. Now, they hear sounds on both C and A, so they don't really know where to rotate. They send one over to C, one over to A, so it's a 2-1-2 right now, although they're rotating more towards that C side, it looks like. Especially off of that door opening, now sending some more over to B. But now, Oxygen rotating over to A, getting ready for the potential that G2 is on an A push. This is a good read, though. Putting most of their players ready to push A is a good choice. Now, Dapper's pushing up into C, definitely just looking for an early pick to help them push into A. Gonna find a head tap on Scuba, but it's a Phantom head tap, and Scuba also has a Phantom, but just gonna be able to take him out. Now Penny over on A, gonna take Pony out. Randy Savage, though, gonna take Whippy out and Penny, and now Oxy finally trades it off, but they're down a player, so it's a 2v3. Oxy's low on health, so is Scuba, though. Flashes come out, and there's no time, so the Spike has to come out. Mitch not gonna be able to take out. Shazam gets taken out, but then Verno just shuts the rest of... Verno just shuts the rest of G2 down. So far, going pretty well for Oxygen. And this is a defense on Lotus. They're doing pretty well. They're able to have the lead right now. I mean, it went into this tied, and so you'd expect the offense to now just start taking the lead. But Oxygen has been able to get a pretty good lead so far. And now both teams, I believe G2 still has 2 timeouts. They may only have 1, but I know Oxygen only has 1, so both teams have timeouts to use. Yes, G2 still has 2 left, using one of theirs now, of course, as soon as I mention it. Because, again, they're on the offense right now, on an offense-sided map like Lotus. They want to be doing much better, but you look at Oxy, only got 6 kills versus Shazam, who's got 18, which means that the duel is not really carrying very hard for G2, and that's not what they want right now. They do need to be wondering, okay, Oxy, how are we going to put you in a position where you can do better? Versus Oxygen, you look over there, Verno's got 19, okay, not the duelist, but Pony's got 17, only 2 kills behind. Scuba's 3 kills behind, but still got 14, so the kills across the board for Oxygen pretty high, excluding Randy Savage and Mitch. Randy Savage with 8, and then Mitch with only 4. But it doesn't really matter if your 2 bottom frags aren't doing the great, if the ones above them are doing pretty well, which is what we hear, or is what we see here for Scuba, Pony, and Verno. This match has been going on for quite a while. I'm definitely ready for this to be over, and it looks like Oxygen is going to make it difficult for G2 to take this, and honestly may put G2 in the lower bracket. G2 will have to face off against FaZe. FaZe definitely doesn't want that. I think FaZe has a better chance against Oxygen than G2. So FaZe is watching this, scared that Oxygen might beat G2 here. Although if Oxygen can beat G2, that may bode well for FaZe. We'll see. Obviously, that is all speculation, as G2 may not actually lose this and end up in that lower bracket. We'll see. We will see. Sorry. Oxygen getting ready to deny a C push. Verno paranoid. Doesn't matter. Gonna take Penny out. Mitch also gonna take Whippy out. And Dapper. So now it's just down to Shazam and a 2v4. Well, it's not just down to Shazam, but Shazam's able to find a kill. And now it's a 2v4. Scuba and Pony each gonna get a kill on Shazam and Oxy respectively. And that's gonna give Oxygen another win. 10. They're in that double digits. They've been able to secure this lead. Now, G2 just took a timeout, and it didn't help them secure a win, but it was a save round for them. Oxygen gonna take a bonus here, it looks like. Just gonna stick with whatever guns they had scrapped together that previous round. And just gonna go for a light buy save here, and take bonus. So regardless of if they win this round, next round their econ will be pretty good. And we see Scuba with 4,200 credits. Mitch being the only one who's actually going to buy a gun. Or at least spend a lot of money on a gun. With that Odin. Looking for another aggressive C kill. Not going to find it. Decides to just back up and rotate towards Waterfall. Now the spike is C-sided, but there's 2 for G2 over on A, so that means G2 is ready and willing to rotate over towards A, and that spike is actually holding back, maybe just looking and watching flank. And the 2 on A for G2 haven't pushed up very aggressively, which means if G2 does want to rotate that spike over to A, it's an option, but also if the rest of G2 who are over on A wants to rotate over towards C, they have that option as well. And then that Sky ultimate comes out, but the Hunter's Fury comes out as well. It's going to be good for 2, able to find, it was able to find 2 of the players, able to find both Oxy and Shazam. Of course, they're just going to get healed by Penny, but their shield's gone now. The Showstopper comes out to try and find some good damage, able to do a little bit, but Oxy's lower now. 30 health left for Oxy, 48 left for Scuba. Not great for either of them. And it looks like they're going to try and rotate through door over towards B, but Verno going to be trying his best to deny it. Takes out both Penny and Oxy. Dapper going to take out Pony. Mitch going to take out Dapper, while Pony's grenade, after death, takes out Shazam. And now it's a 1v3 for Whippy, and this was a buy round from them. They wanted to win a bonus round for Oxygen, which they won. The only player on their team who had actually bought was Mitch, and he survived, so he's great right now. The econ for Oxygen looking very good, and they're 2 rounds away from a win. If I were Oxygen, I would honestly, I think if I get to this 12th round, from my perspective, if I'm Oxygen, I take a timeout to secure a 13th round. So we'll see if Oxygen can get to that 12th round. Now, like I said, this is an offensive-sided map, but it looks like both teams have done better on their defense than expected for Lotus. Oxygen doing much better on their defense than G2 on theirs, and it looks like the strat, at least from what Oxygen has found, is to just play very aggressively. You know, once you get some good vision on where G2 is, you need to rotate quickly, get to where your teammates are, and it's paid off. G2 hasn't really been able to punish some fast rotates from Oxygen, and it's all mostly because Oxygen isn't always doing those fast rotates. And it looks like this time they're going for a flank from B. Pony going to find both Penny and Shazam, take them out. Now, Oxy's also there with the spike, but he's not going to get taken out. And Oxygen actually just backs up off of that. Now they've got the 2-player advantage. They know it's a save round for G2 because G2 wants to be able to buy in case they lose this. Although it is a little bit of a forced light buy from G2. Randy Savage does see Dapper and tries to chase him down. Not going to kill him, but gets him down to 3 health. Mitch with the Odin coming into Odin spam. Trying to find some good picks. Now, Dapper's down to 3. Whippy's down to 17. Oxy's the only one with full health, and they're trying to punish Mitch for jumping down there, and they're able to. Ooh, Pony putting the satchel down, trying to use the Showstopper. Not going to be able to. Oxy's going to take him down. Now the player advantage is in the hands of G2. Still very low health for G2, though. Verno going to be the first one to get a kill for Oxygen. They've evened it out. Now it's a 2v2. Again, health not in the advantage of G2 right now. Very low still for Whippy with 17 and 64 half health for Oxy as well. So not looking good for them. They clear it. Verno flicks away thinking he's not there, but if Oxy isn't able to punish it. Now Whippy's holding the spike, gonna pre-fire it, expecting them to get on it, but Verno's ready for it. He's going to be able to defuse, and now Oxygen has secured 12 rounds and is 1 round away from victory here. Again, like I said, if I'm Oxygen, I take a timeout here just to make sure I can secure that 13th round. But I mean, it can be safe to save it in case G2 has a comeback here and gets, 3 rounds in a row. Then you take another timeout. Now, you do get a timeout, an additional timeout for every, each round that overtime goes. So every 2 rounds of overtime, you get a timeout. So, you're not you don't have to save them in these first few. Sorry, you don't have to save your overtimes in the main game phase. You can use them because you'll have them again in overtime. And Oxygen has secured this 12th round, so they're definitely willing to or they're trying to push for sure for this 13th round, but you can see them now playing it a little bit safe, not pushing so aggressively. They pushed hard for that 13th round, and it nearly didn't pay off. Although G2 got very low on health, they were able to gain that player advantage back as Oxygen got just a little bit too careless. So you can see them starting to play a little bit safer. But again, it seemed like the strat that worked the best for Oxygen was playing super aggressively. on the defense. So we'll see if they're able to return aggressive fire here. Randy Savage getting ready for the lockdown on A and decides to use it as soon as that attacker lockdown comes out. That's going to force G2 back just a little bit. They're going to get that spike down before getting out of there as well. Oh, wow, that lockdown gets destroyed. I believe that was a Molly lineup. And that Viper's Pit is out, which is going to be very useful for G2 to take this round. Now, they're using all their ultimates because you have to play every round like it might be the last, so there's no point in saving. Dapper going to be able to take Scuba out, and now it's a 5v4.
The Viper's Pit should keep them alive and safe for a little bit longer as the time starts to run out for Oxygen with 4 players alive.
Randy Savage going to take Oxy out, but then Penny takes Randy Savage. Shazam takes Verno out. Pony takes Penny out with the Shorty. It's 3v2. Whippy takes Mitch out, and now it's a 1v3 for Oxygen. Not going to be able to win that. Dapper shuts Pony down, and that round goes to G2, but it should be said they had to use every single one of their remaining ults in order to secure that round. So will they be able to get some good momentum and carry it through to winning a few more rounds? We'll see. They need 4, total of 5 in a row to get to this overtime. And they've already used one of their timeouts. I imagine they may just want to use their second one right now as well, or maybe next round they'll save it. Also a good choice in case you do get to that position. Again, they're not. You don't have to save your timeouts. And what I'm thinking is, if G2 gets to that 10th round, that's when Oxygen will use their timeout, because they do have a timeout remaining. We see Oxygen doing an aggressive push out C, is what I'm talking about. They're able to usually capitalize on it. And Shazam gets down to 3 health off of that. That's already a pretty big advantage in the hands of Oxygen. That drone comes out, and so does that Hunter's Fury, trying to find a kill. He's able to find it on Penny. Now Shazam now G2 not looking good. Shazam down to just 3 health. Penny already dead. It's a 4v3, practically a 3v5 with how... Sorry, did I say a 4v3? It's a 4v5, practically a 3v5 with how low Shazam's health is. Well, maybe he can find a pick before he's killed. And we see G2 rotating back towards C, not a good choice. That is sort of where Oxygen is expecting. Dapper able to take Scuba out, and Mitch. That's both of the players on C, and they've gained the player advantage back in their hands, and nobody for Oxygen is going to be close enough to C to punish Dapper, and he's going to be able to get his Killjoy set up. Verno's going to take Dapper out, though, and also Shazam, who was planning, and now it's a 2v3 for G2. The player advantage back in the hands of Oxygen. Spike is still in their hands, and they're grabbing and opening that door. And that Showstopper is back up for Oxy, and he's trying to get it. He's trying to greed for a kill. He's able to force Oxygen pretty far back, which is good for him. And now it's just a 2v3. They have to play a good post plant. Whippy's watching the spike from the center of B. And a flank is coming through from Oxy, but it's going to need to be quick, as because now Oxygen is pushing onto site. Randy Savage going to push B-Link because they know that's where he is. He had a shotgun, but it's not going to matter. Oxy's flank comes through at just the right time, going to find a pick, and now it's a 1v1. Pony's able to use the satchel to just barely mess up the aim of Oxy, and this round's going to go to Oxygen. This map goes to Oxygen. They're moving ahead. They're going to face off against the Guard tomorrow. Or, sorry, not tomorrow. Next week to start off the week. But well played there. Well played. That's all I have to say. Very well played from Oxygen. And G2, but it looked like G2 played very well on Split, but that was it. That was their only time to play well. Oxygen was like, yeah, we've practiced Lotus, actually. That's why we let it through. And G2, I guess, just didn't practice it that much, didn't know how to counterplay an aggressive defense, and weren't able to punish it well, and this map goes to Oxygen, surprisingly. And this matchup, there goes my, there goes my pick'ems. Completely lost. Good thing I didn't bet money on it. But yeah, it's gonna be Oxygen against the Guard. Now tomorrow, what you're gonna see is FaZe versus G2 Esports. That's gonna be an interesting one. Both games tomorrow are gonna be very, very close. Both Disguise versus TSM and G2 versus FaZe should be very, very close games. Very, very fun games. We could see 2 3-game series tomorrow. We will see. Well played from everybody all around. Thank you so much for watching today's live stream. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to scroll down, see if you're subscribed. If you are, thank you so much. If you aren't, I hope you consider it. Thank you for watching. It's going to be exciting tomorrow, and I'll see you all then. Goodbye.